Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the weekly Saturday Smackdown stream with your host ZutaZuta and the guy who accompanies him, myself, Interjection. Absolutely. So, on screen right now, all of the civilizations matched up today for this particular best of 7 can be seen, well, by the flags, I guess. Clicking on the annotations on those flags will take you to that particular match in the video, obviously where it starts, where that game starts, where that matchup is being played. And you can also find the timestamps in the description for that exact function if you're viewing perhaps on a mobile device. But I would highly recommend watching the stream in order from start to finish if you're going to watch the whole 2 hours. And if you want the full, authentic, spoiler-free stream experience, then, you know, that also helps if you watch it start to finish as well, I guess. But, yes, also don't look in the chat. There's probably spoilers in there either way. Absolutely. We do this every week, every Saturday at 8 p.m. GMT, which is 9 p.m. BST, British Summer Time, which is current British time, and 1 p.m. PST if you live in the US. That's the only time zone Zuta gives me, though, so you'll have to convert them yourself. Without further ado, enjoy the video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Saturday Smackdown for, of course, the
11th.
The 11th of, oh my goodness, April 2015. This is game number 1 in a special series. It's sort of tournament related, I guess. Stanley Winston and Mitoe. Shout out to those guys for organizing this event. I think those two have done a huge amount of work. I think those are the ones who, these two people here playing today, very good players, but they were the ones who I think got the whole thing underway. Of course, H2O's done a lot of work behind the scenes for that as well, and of course Gaia making all the maps. There's been a lot of people involved, but these two, I think, were the people who got it rolling. Big shout out to these guys. Lots of AOE 3 action on my YouTube channel and just in general. I've seen the ESO server population shoot up, but this is about this game, not what these two have done. Let's talk about them. Here we have, in the south of the map in the color pink, playing as the British Stanley Winston. Starting with the market, has 100 coin. And that's a fairly nice choice, especially when you have a 50 wood treasure that you're going to pick up. It's going to be pretty good. Of course, get his hunting dogs down nice and early.
Did you see the villager doing his little dance?
No, I did not. What was going on?
He had a rally point, and he popped a villager like in and out of the town center.
Oh, I might have missed it.
2 or 3 times. I've done that so many times myself.
Like, funny. You think you're being like super pro putting a villain in the town center, like, yeah, I'm gonna teleport this across the TC, and then you just like pop it in and it just gets back out again in the wrong direction. You're like, oh.
It's just doing a little dance.
What a pro. But British, this guy's best civilization, or at least the one he plays most frequently, certainly very good with British. Stanley Winston, there he is. I'll see what he's up to. Collecting a lot of coin. We'll see what he's doing with that. I imagine to buy wood, that would make sense.
Yeah,
but
must have to buy.
That's true. Interjection did a derp moment there. Mitoe picking himself up 30 coin. Starting with the market, as Germany can sometimes be quite tough to get that down and maintain villager production. But here he is in the north of the map in the colour teal. So, Zuta, what do you think?
I'm laughing about the hunt that went.
Oh,
the hunt
I see.
Got back carded up top.
I didn't see that.
At the same time that I realized it, Mitoe threatened to execute that villager.
He says yeah in the chat.
You're sent out to like the barren wastelands of Siberia, and your only job is to get these 12 deer closer to the home front, and you're unable to perform that task. Look at that guy. The deer are just going everywhere. That guy is he's having trouble.
He is. He's not looking too good out there. But hopefully he'll be able to get these back. And do you think it's their hunt is fairly even, right? I hope so.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's fine.
Yep. But yeah, there is that. Picking up an 85 wood treasure there. Mitoe going to be pretty happy about that. Oh, the game is over apparently. Duba the pet monkey, that's it. There it is.
Duba the pet monkey has made an appearance.
Yep, that's why it's over. And Duba for president. Hashtag, yeah. Put it in the chat, please.
Duber fighting. You know, back in the days of when Age Sanctuary was really popular,
yeah.
There was one of the most epic threads of all time on that forum was the thread that I created called Duber versus Freitag, and it was 90 pages of spam over which monkey was better, Duber or Freitag. Because you know there's Freitag, and he comes on Himalayas, I believe is the map.
And on Kamchatka as well, actually.
Yeah, and And Duber is specific to this map and maybe some other maps, but the names of the monkeys are static based on which map it is, and it was a fun time.
I love our casting. It's just like, yeah, this is a game of AOE 3, but we always find some nonsense to talk about in the meantime.
I don't think I've actually said anything constructive about what's actually happened in the game so far. And that's supposed to be my job, right? I'm just except I'm just sitting here watching villagers back herd go in and out of the town centers and commenting on monkey names.
I've just been looking like literally my screen in the recording is me even following Duber around for the past couple of minutes whilst we've been talking. No one can see anything else. Like treasures, no, not important. 50 wood though, going on for Duke Weedle. Absolutely. Let's take a look at some of the other treasures. 85 to Mitoe. Was able to lay down a trading post a bit sooner with that. Bringing in his hunts, though they are still quite far away from his town. He's not going to be too happy about that. Unfortunately, though, British isn't usually aggressive, so he should be okay. And actually, equally, British's hunts aren't all the way back as well. But I think that favours Germany a bit more due to the Yuan. What do you think?
That's certainly German favoured. And I think, in general, like, spread out hunts are German favoured. The one thing that the Brit player does have to combat this, and we can see he's already started to lay down the infrastructure for this, is he's got the manor houses really well spread out across his hunts. We can see he's got this manor house over here and this manor house over here, which is going to give him a lot of vision when the Ulan raids do start. And although it's not like, as good as a wall in terms of like stopping a raid like outright, at the same time it does give him fairly good vision on his flanks and allowing him to react with his villagers accordingly and appropriately to make sure that he can try and mitigate as much of that damage as possible from the raids. So certainly that's going to be helpful, and we can see Mitoe has dropped down a stable, and that is indeed what he's going to be doing. So
semi-FF pressure coming out, cavalry to start with, and of course that 3 Vil shipment. I'm going to go click on that. I always have a really I don't know, I really enjoy seeing that. There've been like some it's been a very consistent theme in the tournament videos that I get quite excited when I see that shipment. But yeah, combine that with the Yolans from the stable, and as you mentioned, can try and do some raiding over here. But he's done a good job getting them back. Does have the visibility, as you mentioned. He's actually aged up with the tower despite already having one, and has placed them down, or at least the one that you get. Obviously, you can't move the other one. It's the ones there, but they're both near hunts. Easily garrison them there. It's gonna be quite nice. Oh, that 3 Vil shipment just arrived. Look at that.
So juicy.
It's literally 10 pop worth of stuff. It's absolutely insane. That
it is ridiculous.
Yep. 6 villages and 4 pop worth of Yulan. Like,
I mean, there's a reason on FanPatch why that specific card was changed to not have the 2 Ulans, because like the fact that you get 6 villagers and 4 population of military units in one shipment is...
It's a bit... Maybe it's a bit
just
strong.
Ridiculous. Yeah. It's ridiculous. If, I mean, it's what makes...
Can he pick up that villager, though? No, he's going to take out the musketeer, though. But go ahead. Oh, crap, what was that?
Things are falling apart. It's, like, that shipment in general is what makes, like... It's probably what makes Germany like different from like Spain or like not like a low tier civ. Like the fact that shipment is so good.
Do you think? I don't know. I like it. I like the fact that it's good. I feel like you can't take the 2 Yolan bonus away. I think that's a debate for another time though. But it's I can see why you did it on FanPatch. It's certainly a good shipment, and it's the reason I get very very happy about that shipment there. But 700 coin coming out of Mitoe for his 3rd shipment here. Looking like he wants to, of course, get the age up in queue super quick. I have seen people go for the 2 villager settler wagon shipment, whatever it is, and play a bit earlier in the colonial. But here, going to get the tempo advantage. Going to be, especially with these 2 trading posts, lots of XP, and that pressure is going to pile on thick and fast for this British player.
Yeah, and I think that's important for the German player at this point. He doesn't really want to allow Brits on a map like this to just have as much time as he can to boom up and get a huge mask and then timing push him. So by just ensuring that his age up is going to be on point, it's probably for the best.
That's right. Yeah, and you get the pressure out soon. Lots of Yolans come out, get the veterancy upgrade, get the shipments down, and British hunts are okay. They're reasonable, but as soon as that pressure comes out, British has to do something, and they he's done a lot of booming. 700 wood, 600 wood. Certainly, they're not like anti-military shipments. They're economy. They take time to pay off. German pressure coming down. The sooner it comes down, the harder, the better he's going to take advantage of the fact that British has been booming. Though having said that, 700 wood, 600 wood, I think I like more than the 5 villager thing. Certainly 5 villagers are more efficient, but you get lots of XP out of these, of course, manor houses, and that allows you to get the shipments out sooner, and the population slots that you'll need for sort of... It seems a bit faster in terms of tempo, and that's important for defending against Germany, right?
Yeah, I'm curious as to what Stanley's going for here. Part of me feels like that 700 coin makes him want to age, but at the same time he dropped down an extra racks in a stable, so maybe not the most efficient with his resources there in that regard. The one thing he has done is he's done an okay job of killing some of the Ulans. He has lost some villagers as a result of that, but it is fairly important as the Brit player to be able to actually just straight up kill the Ulans, because I mean, if you imagine those 8 or 9 free Ulans that are going to be there during the transition period, if you can mitigate those. Oh, and by the way, Mitoe I think is FIing.
Yeah, I saw the 1,000 coin and the fact that he was stacking 1,800 food earlier. I was like, what's he doing with that?
Yeah. But,
okay, here we go.
So this will be interesting. I mean, fortunately, wow. I guess fortunately for Stanley, Mitoe is aging, because like it makes his tech-based play actually probably a little bit stronger. Mitoe is probably hoping to just get into the Fortress Age, proceed to the 4th Age, the Industrial Age following that, and ship something like 2 heavy cannons, and then just abuse the fact that it's like 2 heavy cannons versus like mass infantry in Age 2, which would absolutely wreck. But now that we have Stanley aged up, or aging up in the process of aging, he's successfully put back the raid pressure a little bit and allowed himself to kind of build up a little bit of a mass. There could be a chance where he can get a bunch of upgrades out, use 2 falconets of his own to deal with Germany's heavy cannon shipments and stuff like that, and maybe potentially still be okay. Now that said, obviously Age 4 shipments from Germany are really, really good, because you get like all the extra free Ulans, and he does have these 2 trading posts. Absolutely. So he's going to have lots and lots of shipments coming, but I think for what it's worth, like him aging is probably better in this regard than him not being aging. So,
pardon me. Yeah. I was just looking at the polished wings hussars, and I was like, that thing is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's a really good shipment.
There is that. I'm looking. He's got a lot of mercenaries in there as well. So, they're managing to pick up the villager kill. Lots of Yolan here. Die, says Stanley Wilson. Not too happy about that, losing the Ville. But we're going to see he's now up to Industrial. We're going to be seeing that first shipment out of him in approximately 25 seconds, 20 seconds now. And that's the pressure is going to come. Against a massive longbowman and just infantry generally, 2 heavy cannons, as you mentioned, is going to absolutely sting. Like, you can't get close to those, because if you do, you get wrecked. And making culverins is expensive, and making cavalry is not always the best thing to do, because he's going to defend his 2 heavy. Oh, 2 falconets though. Did he age up with those? He must have done.
Yeah, that comes from the age up. I would assume the 2 heavy cannons are coming like right now.
3, 2, 1.
Close, almost. This is going to be really hard with how many longbows.
Polished winged hussars.
Polished winged hussars.
Still good against the longbow, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean they're essentially Age 4 hussar, right? Like it's 10 Age 4 hussar.
They're
it's
exactly
still
Age 4
ridiculous.
Hussar,
yeah, they're ridiculously good. It's still going to be very difficult for him to hold with the amount of longbow he's massed. He doesn't really have the right composition to deal with this.
8 Musk's gonna get wrecked. There's a lot of cav there. All you have to do is just walk up to them, spank them down, because you've got so many Yolans, it doesn't matter what. Oh, no, 2 cannons coming out. It doesn't look like they're gonna be particularly well defended, because the anti-cavalry is being taken out by cav there. Yeah. Oh, God. I feel like maybe he decided to go cav heavy here.
This is good. Oh, this is gonna be so brutal. There's no anti-cav in this army. No. There's just, oh my God.
Whoa, that was sick.
Oh, it's gonna be painful.
It is, but that was did you the switch there? That was sick. But that's not funny. That is
just an absolute brutal distribution of cav into the longbows. Like it's lights out.
that's GG. Yes. That was a nice cheesy move there by Mitoe. Yeah. But it worked. Look at that. He's just like half of his cav is sieging buildings. He doesn't even care. He's just like, I can Don't need to micro now. Micro is optional. But did you see the switch from Stanley Winston? Like, you know when you like right-click in an area and then your units quickly change formation to go in that direction? Like, he abused that to get the cannons to quickly move and have all of his units in front to body block. Yeah. That was sick.
Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. I mean, 13 Ulans following this up. A couple pikemen coming out, but they're just too delayed of a decision to switch. He's got some muskets coming out. At the end of the day, his eco is kind of been trashed as well. He lost a lot of vills in that little engagement. Although he is going to clear out most of the Ulans, it's just not going to matter. Mitoe's in age 4. He can ship factories. He's got heavy cannons coming, like all sorts of good stuff. So I don't think it's really going to matter at the end of the day. And Stanley, despite the fact that I think his mindset was correct in aging up, just didn't have quite the right unit composition to deal with what came his way. Imagine if there was just a lot of muskets and dragoons, or even more hussars instead of all of those longbows. Definitely would have helped him out.
I guess you see them go up to industrial. Maybe you think to yourself, "I'll just go heavy on the cap," and then that could work out a bit better than certainly here. But I really don't know what he does here.
Just kind of rolls over and dies. Like, I don't think he's got a way that he can kill 2 heavy cannons at this point. Sure, he's, like, maybe not got all of his villagers, like, in his town center or something, but just where do you gather resources? How are you going to pull together enough time to like, build which... Yeah.
These things have 500 hit points. They're, like, you can't get close to the mean there, and even if you do, they resist 75% of range damage, though having said that, 5 cheeky hussars coming in, but not finding an opening. Mitoe being quite careful.
It's just not going to be enough. There's too much artillery, too many cav, and there's the game. Game number 1.
Game number 1 concluded there. Short and sweet. Mitoe pulling out the cheese build, but it works. This is so... I didn't see you aging. That would explain. Yeah, I don't think... Maybe if he'd seen him aging, that could have worked out a bit better. But we do have several more games to come. I'm going to head out on this one and get into the next game.
I don't actually... You say cheese, but I don't think it was necessarily a cheese. I think this is a legitimately strong strat for Germany against civs that are going to, like, play boomy. Like,
yeah, I guess on this map with the tower as well.
Yeah, you've got the tower. It's not like he's committing to age 4 play right off the bat, right? He's committing to age 3 play right off the bat, which is fine. Like, he's going to commit to age 3 play on that map anyways in that matchup, and so he doesn't really need age 2 cards. There's really no reason to have age 2 cards. He's committing to going to age 3 on that map in that matchup anyways, and so why not just sub out all your bad age 2 cards and put in a bunch of age 4 cards where you're more likely to use them going forward on that map. And if your opponent presents you with the opportunity to get to the 4th age untouched, then you take that. And I think that's what kind of Mitoe sniffed out there. He sensed the opportunity, he took it, and was able to get up to age 4 and abuse it. So
there we have it.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 2 in this best of 7 between Stanley Winston and Mitoe. For, of course, Saturday Smackdown, the 11th of April 2015. This is on Saguenay. No, it's not. Hudson Bay.
Same
I like
thing.
This map.
Yeah.
Is it going to be the winter spawn? I see the icy sort of picture, so it must be. Guy
I
thought
wonder...
this through?
Yeah, he has, it looks like.
Has it? It hasn't loaded for me. I can't see the map. Yes, he's thought this through. There it is. I don't know. Ice maps, certainly very fun. I always turn off the bloom effect for these because they are very bright. So there's that. But we do have Mitoe switching it up from the Germans to, of course, the Dutch. Still very Central European, actually, but very different civilizations in different countries. But here we have, he started with lots of coin. That's normal for Dutch, as we all know, wants to get the villagers in queue. That's what Dutch do. They cost coin. Envoy heading out straight towards the lake. I thought on the minimap for a second that might have been a villager. That was
He was going to take a bath.
I thought perhaps he wanted to build a dock, but that would seem extreme. Well, certainly an envoy can't do that, but I thought maybe it might have been a villager. That would have been very odd, but come to think of it, that's impossible, really, for Dutch there to start with enough wood. And it's probably not a good idea to do water as Dutch. Anyway, the banks are certainly... Anyway, here we have, in the other side of the map, east. Oh, that's right, actually. I checked after I said it.
Yeah.
Yes, the Indians. Stanley Winston, lots of hunt, looking good. Picking himself up a nice 80 XP treasure there, not too bad. And, yes, Indian versus Dutch. There we have it. What do you think?
one of the most realistic matchups that we could possibly have in
Realistic.
in terms of colonization. Of course, playing in the middle of Canada with the Indian civilization against the Dutch.
Ah, yes.
Historically, definitely one of the most accurate representations that this game can possibly provide.
That's true. Absolutely.
The other thing that I was thinking is that the envoy is running, right? Like, look at his form. He's actually running. But at the end of the day, he's like really not that much faster than all
Winston
of the
coming
other
in for a 150 coin treasure. He might be able to pick that up. Yes, he goes in. I think there he might have been just too slow, but certainly, Mitoe certainly deserved the treasure. He was going for that. What were you saying about the envoy?
He runs.
He does.
But in every other unit, essentially in this game, walks, right? Like there's, I guess, like the horses like kind of run, but he's slower than all of the other units that walk as he runs.
Look at that image. He's an older guy. You'd be tired if you were forced
to
wear that.
Old.
Like, look at that suit he's wearing. That's really big. Like, that's really clunky and heavy. Like, if you were sent to the US or Canada, whatever it is, to run around, you'd get tired and have to. Oh wow! Like that polar bear does not like that envoy very much. Like, I didn't see the explorer attacking the. I think the more relevant thing here is the Indians going for the Dutch guy.
Yes.
I just out of nowhere, I was zoomed in on this envoy, and the polar bear just turns around and like claws him. I was like, "Whoa, what's going on here?"
Die noob. Also, all of the Dutch guys have really fabulous hats.
Yeah, that's
like look at the Dutch envoy. Like his hat is so fabulous. The Dutch explorer's hat is like.
He actually has a reason to be wearing that attire. It's pretty cold on this map. Like normally,
Yeah.
In the middle of some of the warmer maps, like I don't know, he always wears the same. But here it's probably pretty glad that he dresses that way.
Yeah. Oh, aggroed the polar bear. That's unlucky.
Oh,
with his
the area damage on the Indian explorers there. Yeah, managed to pick up the polar bear. A little bit of a conflict over this 125 wood. I wonder if he's got his crack shot.
Yeah, he's just waiting for his crack shot to come back. And there it is. He's going to pick it up.
But pretty normal stuff from both players so far. Of course, picking up the nice wood treasure, he's going to be pretty happy about that, especially as Dutch going to get that bank down a little bit sooner. There it is. And definitely going to have all the XP he needs in the colonial age. Because sometimes you don't get that first bank up in time. You struggle to get the first shipment on the way as soon as you age up. That can sometimes be a thing. But no problem here. Very normal stuff. 3 villages, of course, as his first shipment. Created, of course, 15 villages. Getting his bank during transition, most likely going up with 400 wood and going to use that for maybe a bank, but probably infrastructure, and then certainly will add in some banks in the next stage with his wood shipments or his bank, whatever it is. And India has indeed gone for the wood trickle. They don't have village shipments, as we all know, but has started with the early market. Going to have some improvements there. Certainly went for the early water wheel and the food upgrades, essentially. And here comes an Agra fort, a little bit further forward on the front there, so it can, of course, provide line of sight and shoot anything that comes towards him, and is pretty close to the herd behind him. Pretty normal things so far. And what do you think of the matchup, though? India versus Dutch. Certainly a realistic one for this game, and emulating the real world perfectly. But in Age of Empires 3, how's this? What we got here?
So I think that this is probably India's matchup to lose. To be honest, he's got a pretty good map for him. This map isn't... I mean, it's not terrible for Dutch. It's decent for Dutch, but it's not terribly... I guess it's a little bit more open than normal SAG is. I keep thinking it's normal SAG, but it's not normal SAG. So I guess the open factor maybe is slightly more advantageous for Dutch. Does allow him to open cav and get some more rating pressure and a little bit more easily. But at the same time, Dutch is kind of a lower tier civ, and India is a pretty high tier civ, and this is a pretty good map. The one thing that does concern me is that Stanley is up fairly slow. That's a 5-minute and 17-second age up, and with Mitoe's really fast start with that 125 wood treasure, kind of snowballing into no downtime on his town center. Definitely going to be able to get out 5 Hussar here very easily.
All 5 in queue as we speak. All 5 of them there. Yeah.
That's going to be really difficult for Stanley to deal with. Mitoe's eco is going to get really strong, and because because Stanley was up so late, he's not really going to have the option to apply pressure in a very timely manner, which is going to allow Dutch to get aged up fairly easily to the third age and kind of just get that snowball of Dutch eco and shipments rolling in the third age really unhindered. And that does kind of concern me a little bit. But at the same time, it's going to kind of come down to how well can Stanley defend against these raids. As long as he doesn't lose a lot of villagers, keeps his sepoy positioned in good spots, is able to deflect the raids without taking a ton of damage, he should be okay. But
here he comes.
Here we see.
He's perhaps going to pick up that villager on the house there. Only 2 sepoy nearby. Of course, he could just engage them straight up. Mitoe might even do that, but he does see the other 2 sepoy on the other side. Could have been a sticky situation if he'd actually decided to go for the 2 sepoy. Certainly can be tempting there. Not going to get any villagers, so nice job from Stanley placing these sepoy in relevant positions to defend against any incoming raids. But a sneaky scout coming in. He's going to know where the villagers are and if the sepoy are nearby. But looks like he's going to get away with his late age up. It looks like the raiding not successful initially, and I think he's going to be okay to get a couple of units out. But certainly, as you mentioned, Dutch very quick, going to be up very fast and have that Fortress Age agenda. As you mentioned, going to be tough. We'll see what he does.
I don't know that it necessarily that was a win for Stanley. Like that was just the break even move, right? Like it's not like he pulled himself back into
this
an
certainly
advantage.
isn't a win though. The 2 elephants going down. Oh, they're coming at the 2 sepoy there, but he's gonna get.
If he would have been able to this is a win. If he's able to kill one of these Hussar for free, that's definitely a win. Pop those bad boys back into. Okay. If he could have popped his...
cheeky.
Ooh.
He might still get it, though. Oh, no, running the Hussar away, the weak one there. Certainly not going to lose that. Doesn't want to do that. Has all 5 Hussar taken out the 2.
That is a big win. That's like a big win for Mitoe.
Yeah, really nice win. Picking himself up 90 experience there and denying his opponent the 2, of course, monks that have 400 hit points. And if you put them in your army sponging up some damage, that can be really good. Doesn't have those anymore. But there's that.
Yeah. Mitoe's still trying to get some damage done here. He hasn't been super successful with his raiding attempts, but maybe get a villager here.
Ooh, yes, he does. Picking up the vill. He's going to be happy about that. Got the 2 explorers, got a villager, all 5 cav, still alive.
And he made sentries.
Forcing the sentries. Yeah. I don't know. He's looking pretty happy at this point.
Yeah, this is definitely a win. Like this is just Mitoe playing better as well. Here do come the Zams, and this is going to hard shut down the Hussar pressure here. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because Mitoe's 50% of the way aged up. Does have 4 banks, still has all of his infrastructure, steadily going, clicking away. Despite the fact that he's probably going to lose all of these Hussar to the Zams, it's not really going to matter because he's going to be aged up. He's going to have vet skirms, going to have Reuters, and this is where India is really in a spot of bother. He's probably going to try and ship something like maybe 600 coin and try and age, but by that point it might be a little bit too late.
Might pick himself up a villager kill though. No, not going to do that. Could have done. Could have made it. Evened up the rating a bit by grabbing that. Go ahead.
Yeah, but 4 sellers. So I mean, I guess he's going to try and pressure here very, very soon, and maybe that he can get some damage done like right now. But with the 4 seller shipment that did come forward, not something like 600 gold, he has to right click on Mitoe's base and hopefully catch the 8 skirmisher or 9 Reuter shipment as it comes out of the town center in a bad position and just kill it outright. Because if he fails to do that now that he's committed to these military units, going to be a difficult road for him moving forward.
Yeah, he needs to do some damage here. Perhaps maybe he can kill some of these Reuter. No, Mitoe going to be on the ball there, get them back, knows the skirmishers are nearby, doesn't want to take any damage there. Was he forced, though, into creating the Zambaraks when otherwise you normally wouldn't as India?
No, I don't know that it was necessarily a forced move. I think his game plan, judging by just the way his build has been progressing, has been to stay in Age 2 this whole time, in which case the Zams are perfectly fine. But because everything else has been a little bit slow, his timing follow-up for this pressure is going to be a little bit slow as well, and as a result of that, it just feels like it was forced. It feels like he was playing reactive when probably realistically all along his goal was to do some sort of stable aggro build and make some sort of timing push. But this timing push, it's coming at around 10.5 minutes. Ideally would, be coming 30, 40, maybe even a full minute earlier.
Yeah, that's true.
Earlier,
it seems rather late. But the 1,000 wood on the floor, what's he going to do with that? I don't know, like 1,000 wood isn't a sort of 8 skirmishes or something like that. This timing pressure still looks pretty good because 1,000 wood isn't doing anything right now and he needs that to sort of hold up. He did kill 1,000 resources worth of hussars. That certainly counts for something as well.
Sure.
He did fairly okay in that colonial age. This pressure does look very scary, denying the food. Very even game at the moment in terms of score. And I don't know, we'll see what he can do with it.
Thing is, Mitoe has a shipment though in bank, and he's probably just been saving that shipment to be able to see what Stanley has, and now he can ship 8 skirm off the back of this and still be perfectly fine. We can see he's a bit holed up in his base, but at the end of the day, Dutch doesn't really care if they're holed up in their base. As long as they have 4 banks ticking away, they have a shipment available. He's got an age advantage. I don't think he's too bothered with the position he's in.
31.
What did he just send? Did he send he just sent a shipment, but I'm curious as to whether or not...
600 coin from Stanley Winston, is that... He's also just finished researching the British consulate, so he's got some extra HP there.
Yeah. I'm a bit surprised that Stanley hasn't, committed... I know... So I understand, if you take a look at Dutch's base and see, this nice little concave that he's built with his buildings, it's very difficult... to get in there, but at the same time, it feels like a losing play not to try and get in there and get us around because
you've got
Dutch is just getting stronger and stronger here now as the game progresses.
4 banks, very strong indeed, going to be churning out the coin, and you had a pretty big mass. You've been working towards that. You've sent the 4 sour shipment. That's what you've been building up to. This timing pressure. And, he still has a military lead, 51 military population there. Yeah, I know Zambraks aren't perhaps the most pop efficient in terms... Well, actually, they are pop efficient. They're only 1 pop. Anyway, not the point. Had more units, didn't take the push here, and now Dutch is definitely stabilized. Never even had... Never really needed to stay. He was already stable the entire game, and now pushing out. Lots of military units coming. Maybe he lost that window of opportunity.
Yeah, needs to definitely get a good surround. The one thing is he does have Dutch out here committed out in a place that's not holed up in his base with 1 million resources, so that's a good thing. And if he can get some favorable trades, I mean, Mitoe's being a little sloppy here. He's picking off some of the Reuters and skirmishers for free with his infantry mass, which is definitely good. And if he can get a few more sours pulled together, get some of those Hussar in a good spot, and get in a position where he can get us around and kind of catch the... and that's why he was stockpiling so much gold. He's got falconets. At the same time, if he can still get... if he can get us around, Mitoe's army is very slow moving, difficult to position with the cannons and the skirmishers and everything, and I don't know, if he can get us around, he might be okay, especially now that he's got the Mahout in the mix as well. That Mahout standing on top of the cannons is going to be absolutely brutal.
Yeah, I must admit, I was actually looking at the chat, and I saw someone say that they sent petards, and I was not, somebody said that casters didn't notice, but we did, and I wasn't quite sure what they were talking about. I was reading the chat whilst you were talking. Did we miss petards? Is there a Dutch petard shipment that he sent or something?
There's there is a 6 petard shipment.
He hasn't got it in his deck though. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. Sorry, I was like, petards? I'm reading about this. But here we do have a fight. I have no idea what you said. But that Agra fort, fairly low hit points. Dutch looking pretty good. India not going to be able to save that. Doesn't really want to go in.
He's got the Mahout though. Pay close to... Oh, and he's got the 2 siege elephants. He's going to be able to eliminate most of the falconets.
That's pretty good. Siege elephants super good against the falconets though. These things aren't really that good against anything else. But certainly, HP. Yeah, Mahout coming in. Massive unit. Absolutely huge. Has a lot of hit points. Going to sponge up the damage. The skirmishers really don't want to be targeting that. They might be targeting it because, of course, attack move. That's the thing on the front there. Does a lot of area damage. India looking pretty good here. The cannons neutralized pretty easily. Nothing to punish the enemy cucumbers in the back there. And this is looking pretty good for India. Still lots of cav pushing forward.
As well. The Mahout is taking so much hit. Look at the hit points on that bad boy. 1,200 hit points on that disciplined Mahout Lancer.
There are 5 petards on the map.
Oh, where are those bad boys at?
They are down here. Perhaps we did miss them.
I wonder how long that artillery foundry has been down
It
there.
doesn't have an artillery. Where is it? I don't even.
Yeah, it does. It's like it's a proxy, like hidden artillery.
I was looking for it on like the military tab. I thought it would show up one artillery. That's why he sent 1,000 wood. That's where all the resources have gone, and that's why he hasn't had a very big army. And that's
There they go.
This is.
He's gonna get the aggro. He needs to put one off on the aggro. Put one on the aggro.
Just
put one on the aggro. It's just one.
But he knows he needs 5 to kill. Oh, he wants to go for that building.
He's gonna go for the wonder. Why the wonder?
Oh my goodness. He doesn't want those hit points on his enemy's troop. Oh, it goes down. What a game. I don't understand what... Mitoe...
No.
Oh my goodness.
What is happening? No. Interjection's dying. The game is like frozen. The game itself doesn't like know what's happening.
Wow, he's not too happy about that by the looks of things.
Yeah. The thing is, behind all of this, Dutch's eco is still really, really good, right? He's even villagers plus 4 banks as well. So despite the fact that he's being a little bit cheeky with his shipments and such, at the end of the day, he's still in an okay spot. But that being said, there's Urumi on the floor. There's a Mahout Lancer still in the mix. The aggro fort is not dead, and India is in age 3, so...
He's 40 military pop up. That's a lot. Having said that, shipment just arrived, but so it's not the same anymore. But yeah, Urumi have arrived. That's a lot of... They're pretty scary, especially against the skirmishers. Lots of army here. Oh, skirmishers on the front there. Don't want to get caught out of position. Not going to be too happy. Mitoe spending his resources on petards of all things. Certainly the wonder has gone down. All of these units will have less stats because of that. That's what it does. But doesn't have the military units. Could have been making units out of the wood and whatever it was that the petards cost here. And these skirmishers... they're not doing too badly against the Urumi.
Yeah, they're okay because they're in the trees here. The Urumi are having a difficult time getting in range. Yep. Decent control and abuse of the tree line here, but a lot of villagers going down here for Mitoe as well.
Oh, that's not too good. That could be enough for Mitoe to lose his favorable position here. Certainly ahead on villagers, or perhaps now 10 behind actually. Wow. Does have the banks though, so it's still very even, but considering that Stanley's 20 units up and now has well, his economy's getting better relative to his opponents, especially since he's still killing villagers.
Yeah.
Looking pretty good.
And he's definitely got the map presence as well, right? Like Mitoe's going to run out of room to actually gather resources from here very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. This is an interesting game. I was not expecting petards out of Mitoe. That's certainly interesting. Could have been a bit different if he made actual military units, but certainly.
Well, or the falconets. Like even the 3 falconets, honestly, didn't really contribute that much whatsoever. I mean, let's be perfectly fair. Almost any use of those 1,500 resources would have been better than what he used. But looks like we have ourselves another little freeze.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that.
No. Yes.
Stanley rage quit. That must be the answer. Yeah.
Yes, certainly.
Yeah.
It's the only logical explanation. He's ahead in the game, and so he's decided to quit.
I'm not sure. I'm not lagging.
No, it's not me. It's not you. I think Stanley was mentioning that he maybe had some lag issues earlier.
And I'm running at 30% CPU, so it's not that my processor is spiking up to 100. Ah, yes, he rage quit. Confirmed. He's like, no, I don't want to play this game anymore. Petards.
Are you ready?
Oh, no, he's back.
Oh, his internet is going crazy.
Yes.
Oh, this cough is really annoying me. I can't, like, every time I get super excited, I suddenly start coughing. It's really not.
Sounds like you need a cup of hot tea and some honey.
Witch Doctor's Zuta right here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway. Stanley Winston has resigned.
Has he? Oh, okay.
Apparently.
Well, there is certainly that. He was behind... Was he? I don't know. I think it was still everyone's game. Mitoe on 32 villages there. Yeah, the banks even that up. But still, India has a pretty nice economy and a military lead there. Yeah, the Dutch has the upgrades. You know, he's got some permanent upgrades down. But still, anyone's game.
Yeah, that was...
An unfortunate ending. Oh. Well, thank you very much for watching. Come back in just a moment. there'll be another video and another game rather, another match coming up any second now. Let's head on out of this one. So, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game 2.5, perhaps, maybe 3, maybe 2, something like that. We're not sure what's going on with that last game, but here we have certainly another game in this best of 7 series between Stanley Winston and Mitoe. New Civilizations again, looking good on Mongolia. Here we have in the southwest of the map. The colours, oh my goodness.
Spawning in the color cough cough, splutter splutter, help me, I'm dying. Stanley Winston, and in the bottom right, spawning on the right side of Mongolia, playing in the teal color, we have Mitoe. Of course, the map is Mongolia, as previously mentioned, and Mitoe picking up a nice little 50 wood treasure in his base, as well as, of course, having the native scout, which both players will have now. Naturally, picking up the 50 wood treasure is definitely going to help him in the regard that he's not going to have to gather that extra 100 wood. He will only have to gather an extra 50 wood should he want 2 villages, but at the same time is going to slow down his progression in his scouting early in the game. So,
is this not the most barren wasteland you've ever seen? Like, I've never seen a map spawn more flat area than that.
Yeah.
Like, traditionally, AOE 3, alright, fairly open game, certainly
Sure.
a lot more open than, say, Age of Empires 2 Mythology, largely because you can walk through trees in AOE 3 and you can't on those games. But this, that aside, that is one...
That's the Sahara Desert right there.
In Mongolia?
Well, yeah, okay, the Gobi Desert. The Gobi Desert's in Mongolia, right?
Alright, yeah, okay.
At least it sounds more Mongolian.
I thought you were watching too much Fox News for a moment. Anyway, I hope you got the joke.
No, I don't get it. Can you explain it to me?
There was this, I think somebody from Fox News accidentally, I assume it was an accident because I hope they weren't being serious, they put Egypt in the Middle East. It's definitely not there. That was geographically very wrong. But anyway, I didn't do my introduction. You did it. That was weird for me. I was feeling a bit...
You feel out of place.
Yeah. Are you going to ask me what I think of the matchup?
Yeah, so what do you think of this matchup? I've got strong opinions on this matchup.
Have you?
Do you?
I feel like China is definitely favored here because Russia, they don't really like facing Fortress Age opponents. They like playing in the colonial age. They like long drawn out colonial age games where they can make use of that sort of extra villages that they get. Every 50 seconds they get 3 villages, and that's every 50 seconds you should be getting 2 villages. But Russia also, they're cheaper, and basically they want a colonial aged game, whereas Russia, again, if they go up to Fortress, they're sort of going to have to I suppose you're going to have to follow up the Chinese player. And it's really awkward because you're then going to be fighting in the Fortress Age with sort of the same units that you'd be making in the Colonial Age. You have to upgrade all of them, and it's just clunky and annoying. And China just poos the units out. They have a very large anal cavity, so to speak, and that is where they store all the units. You obviously build the Summer Palace and whatever else. You get that Flying Crow and that batch of banner armies for free, and you age up with a bunch of units for free as well, and you send that intervention shipment, which is ridiculous, and you just, the units just... you flop out some units, and I feel like Russia is gonna find that rather difficult to deal with.
That's a fairly accurate description, I think, of what's going to happen.
Boom! Game knowledge right here.
Yeah. So when I look at this matchup, certainly Russia is in general bad against fortress-based play, and what they need to be able to do is slow down their opponent from getting to the fortress age. If you take a look at when they play against French, or when they play against Germans, or they play against China, or any very heavily fortress-based civ, they need to be able to slow their opponent down, force them to play in age 2 for longer than they're comfortable. And the way that you can do that is by taking a look at what your opponent's base layout is. And so obviously to get to the 3rd age, Mitoe's going to need to gather at least 300 coins. So the first thing I look at is where's the coin mine spawn, and it's slightly out front of the base. It's not in a super easy to defend spot. The next thing I look at is where has he built his villages, because if he's built his villages in bad spots and he's not able to properly defend them for basically a large portion of the game, he runs the risk of not being able to send shipments. And so we see that one of them has been built very defensively, and one of them has been built a bit haphazardly out to the front and the left side of the space. Now, it does cover the berries, which is a plus, But at the same time, having the cows is probably going to be enough food in itself that I would prefer to see this village placed back closer behind the town center. But that's a personal preference. Certainly covering the berries and giving himself some vision outside of his base is definitely good as well. So what it's going to come down to, and we can see Stanley Winston already with this very forwardly placed blockhouse, is whether or not he can effectively slow down China. And the answer is already to this point, resoundingly yes, because China's not even going to go to the H3. We can already see that he's made the adaptation, that he's likely scouted this blockhouse, knows perhaps that his coin mine is a bit out front and that he won't be gathering coin very easily if he doesn't stabilize in age 2, and as a result has opted just to stay in age 2. So that's certainly something that is in Russia's favor, and we'll see whether or not he's able to make anything of that.
Yeah, gonna put lots of units out. Russia certainly gonna do that. Has a very efficient well, certainly that 5 Cossack shipment. I believe you changed that on the fan patch as well, actually.
To 4, yeah.
Yeah, I like these slightly OP shipment. I think every Civ should have that one card that they're super proud of. And for Russia, it's 5 Cossacks. That's 750 resources in the form of military units, not crates. They're fully trained. But starting with the 13 Strel, it's almost as good as well, and certainly going to be useful for ranging down these villies here.
Those are just trained Strelly, by the way. Those just
they are? Okay. Oh, I thought that they were... Oh, they're 5 Cossacks. Alright, I'm right. Okay, good. But, yeah, China, as you said, doesn't want to go up to the Fortress Age here because collecting the coin could be a bit difficult. And certainly when Russia's piling on the pressure, it seems a bit awkward.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a bit awkward. We can see Mitoe's still opting for a more economical build. He has since 700 coin. And despite the fact that he does have his War Academy down, he's already running out of resources to gather. And if these villagers get found out about in the back of his base...
Yeah, those only losing the 1 pikeman there. I thought that he might lose all 2 pikemen going down. And it looks like those cavalry are going to catch up with those that actually A-moving on a villager there. Gonna protect... I don't know. He's certainly gonna lose that first batch of that banner army. Unless he can pop a shipment on top of the cavalry. Can he do it?
And 9 Quang Pike needs to be coming ASAP. Just to be able to deal with these Cossacks.
If the 9 Quang Pike popped out before the units died, that would have been pretty sick. But
yeah, but unfortunately not gonna happen. And this is actually a pretty tough situation.
7 Steppy Riders on the right position there, on the correct side, of course, going to grab some damage on the Strelets there. Nothing to stop them. The Cossacks obviously want to be blocking that from happening, not letting it happen in the first place, calling the sentries as well to back this up. Going to force the cavalry away, or tear them down quickly and allow those Steppy Riders to get in combat with the Strelets and do what they want to do. But here, don't know, well, he's got 3 left.
Yeah, he's actually tanked a lot of damage with a couple of, like a villager or 2 that have been thrown in there. He's also tanked quite a bit of damage with that Mongol scout. We can see that guy has been losing quite a bit of HP. And despite the fact that, that Mitoe called all of his Minutemen and everything like that, he still wasn't really able to break the contain. He is not going to have another shipment for a long time. He doesn't have any trading posts or anything like that. And the relentless pressure here from Russia is going to continue.
It's true. And it's just like, it feels really... I don't know, he lost that first banner army here. This one here doesn't look like it's fighting too efficiently because just there's not enough units to back him up. And obviously the more units you have, the harder you're going to win a fight. Excellent. Doing the nice... put them in stagger mode there to take less damage, or cover mode, whatever it is. On the pikeman, going to sponge up some of the Strelet fire so the Chokanu in the back can do a bit of extra damage. But 7 Steppy Riders not pulling as much weight as he perhaps had wanted them to. And as a result of that here, Russia on 20 military pop and Mitoe only on 5. And actually Mitoe, although the settler counts are fairly even, but Russia does catch up very quickly. And Russia also has spice trade active.
Yeah, and Russia has been neglecting villagers at this point as well, right? Like, it's fairly safe to assume that he's been cutting villagers just to kind of keep up this pressure. Obviously, a big batch of Strelly like this costs 375 food. You're not going to be able to train 375 food worth of units and tag on, consistent 270 food batches of villagers. It's just not going to happen. So you have to make a decision. And he's made the decision to cut a little bit here. But at the end of the day, we can see, like, he's been doing a pretty good job of getting map pressure. And if he can, I guess if he can just continue this pressure, maybe start mixing in some cav, The unit shipments have kind of been exhausted, at least the important ones, and this is definitely a position that this is something that Russia is comfortable with moving forward.
He's now got that long drawn out colonial games, brought it up to the 10-minute mark essentially, and it doesn't look like China's going to be going fortress anytime soon. He just does not have the resources for that at all. Has just sent 2 military shipments in a row to sort of stabilize. That's a small victory in itself for, of course, Stanley Winston. And we have, of course, Russia. He's pretty happy. Russia, obviously, as I mentioned, the villagers train pretty quick. He's got a spice trade upgrade. He's got his market down. Let's take a look at the improvements as well and see. He's got his steel traps. He's getting placer mines right now. 700 coin has arrived. Can use that, of course, to pump out some cavalry if he does indeed have a stable, or perhaps he has intentions of something else. No, it looks like cavalry.
Yeah, it's and this is good. Like this is a position that, like I mentioned, Russia is really happy to be in. They've got their infrastructure established. He's controlling the map. He's going to know when Mitoe starts to move out for resource nodes like this. He can only last for so long in his base. We can see he's only got 4 yaks it looks like left, and then at that point he has to move outside of his base, and where does he gather food from? I mean, this location is completely covered by blockhouses. This location is, I guess somewhat protected by the village, but it's kind of split between a village and a blockhouse.
Still out in the open.
And
you see Winston's
scary.
herding one of the herds towards his blockhouse, denying even more food. And those yaks are running out quickly. He's going to have to push out soon. He's going to have to make something happen to acquire
I'm really
resources.
disappointed in the fact that Stanley's aging here.
Yeah, I was looking at, I just noticed that, actually. I thought, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to contain keep the pressure, the containment up now that he's...
Just imagine if he had
2,200 resources on aging.
10 Cossacks, and a 4 Cossack shipment, and another 15 or 20 Strelay. He would just be able to completely surround this. He invested so much setting up this contain around his opponent, and then he used it to age. And the age up is going to be good, but Russia doesn't have that much to age for. I mean, it's just going to be a bit awkward for him. I feel like he's allowed his opponent to get back some of the map control that he had lost, or was completely suffocated out of, really, the map control game. And now Russia instead is aging up, and I'm just not sure I agree with that. I would have liked to see him produce some more Cossacks and Strelays and just continue to fight and continue to prolong this game in Age 2 as long as possible.
Yeah, it's certainly something that could have gone really quite well for him. But he's now up to Fortress Age. Certainly means something. Can get the veterancy upgrades out. Certainly has access to that 2 cannon shipment, and among other things, it's still certainly good. But yeah, I might have liked him to stay colonial as well. And I just want to point out that Mr. Bramboy is extremely close-minded, and I don't want to see comments like that in the chat. Otherwise, I think give you anxiety. Really ought to be timing people out. I'm not going to mention what it was, but yeah.
So moving forward here, I guess he does have the 2 Falconets now. He's losing all of his blockhouses though, which is really unfortunate, because he sunk so many resources into setting up all that infrastructure. It just feels like a bit of a waste to allow that. And then at the same time, he's allowing Mitoe just the opportunity to age up. Mitoe's making the smart play here. We noticed Mitoe didn't continue to spam units and just run headlong into the base, which he certainly could have, but he instead elected to siege down what was containing him, siege down, get back some of the map control, and then elected instead to send 700 coin and age up himself. And now he's effectively gotten to the point that he wanted to be in a blight, 6, 7, 8 minutes later. Well, 6 minutes later, but at the same time, no worse for the wear. Even Eco got some market upgrades, got a decent army to be able to upgrade and fight with, and is in a situation where I think he's not really under too much pressure. This is about as scary as it's going to get right here. And if Stanley can't win with this timing push with these 2 Falconets, China likely going to win the game.
Yep. But this is scary. It is here and now. 2 cannons on top of his base, attacking his War Academy. That thing has a lot of hit points, but not for long. It's going to go down. Pardon me. I'm going to minimize the chat so it doesn't distract me. But 2 cannons. How's he going to deal with those?
Yes, it's going to be tough. I mean, so the one good thing is he's just got a bunch of buildings out here, and I guess at the end of the day, he can just let like the consulate and the war academy and the summer palace go down and use that to buy time, and eventually he'll get up into the third age, and then he can ship something like meteor hammers or something, which is going to do really well against the two falconets. And at that point, then he should be back good to go. But I mean, at the end, he's also not going to be able to upgrade his Chu Canoe or his Quang Pikeman or anything like that. So that's a bit annoying as well. So. Yeah, he's definitely going to need some meteor hammers. Like he's not out of the woods just yet. Just because he's gotten aged up and he's ahead in score doesn't necessarily mean he's won the game yet. Especially, I just noticed there's a couple of Perchniks running around up here on the north side of the map, which could get quite frightening as well.
They could be, especially if there's a pikemen are pulled out to into the main army to deal with his opponent here. He's walking back though. Doesn't think he wants to stay there much longer. What's he got in mind? Is he scared of perhaps China's first shipment? He knows it's going to arrive approximately 30 seconds after he hits up to Fortress, or perhaps a bit longer because you don't always have one guaranteed at around the 15-minute mark. Is that what he's worried about? It just feels like, as you mentioned,
he just doesn't want to overcommit into the base. I guess he does have. Yeah. He has like made the conscious decision to make a bunch of Perchniks. Which, I mean, I believe he's even sent 6 Perchniks as one of his cards. Yeah, his last card was 6 Perchniks. So he has kind of committed to sending a Perchniks. And Perchniks aren't that great in straight up heads up fighting. They're much better, obviously, just in continuing to raid and run around the map and cause havoc everywhere and keep your opponent on the back foot. And so if he can continue to do that with these Perchniks and be active with his cav and contain the map, then maybe he'll be okay. But I feel like Mitoe just has been gathering a lot of coin and likely is sending Manchu right now.
Yeah, Manchu. Okay.
Does he have Manchu in his deck? Let's take a look. He does have Manchu in his deck. So I saw it not too long ago. He had quite a bit of coin. I would assume Manchu are coming here. They'll be tasked with dissuading his opponent's cav mass that we see kind of roaming around the middle portion of the map. And if he can effectively use the Manchu to deal with that, and then just continue to stabilize with the rest of his army, I think he should be perfectly fine here.
Yeah, and there they are. Absolutely, those things pretty strong. 440 hit points, 40% melee resist, 27 damage with pretty good multipliers against the various units.
Big raid down on the south.
Oh, not too good there. And here the Oprishnik's very high siege damage. He's going to tear through that village there. He knows that Mitoe going to get those villages out, send them back to, of course, the town center where they can be more easily defended. But the Manchu going to come in, perhaps going to pick up a few kills here, but actually Stanley going to escape.
Yeah, this is going to get annoying for him to deal with here fairly soon. Mitoe, like we can see, Mitoe's just kind of walking back and forth in the middle of the map, unsure of what to do. His army keeps just kind of running circles around itself, and that's good for Russia. Like the longer that this goes on for Russia, like sure, China hits a power spike in age 3, but if China's not able to abuse the power spike and not able to do anything as a result of this power spike, then it's probably back in Russia's favor the longer the game goes, into prolonged games.
Ooh, can he catch these Prishniks though? It's looking okay. Did catch a few of them. Almost takes that one out.
There's another big group though down here to the south that's been roaming, and if Stanley can just kind of like keep everything alive here and buy some time and just keep that's enough Oprishniks that can just run in and siege a TC and kill every villager in the base. Like realistically, that's probably enough Oprishniks to do that. So
you got to be very careful at this point in the game. But this is going to be one hell of a fight when it happens. There's 100 military population basically for each civ here. This is gonna be very bloody when it finally.
And it's gonna come down to two things: the positioning of the Manchus and whether or not they're able to effectively eliminate all the cavalry that has started to stockpile up here for Russia, and then for Russia, the positioning of the two falconets. Because if those falconets can get off some big volleys, certainly going to be good for him. Ooh, big raid!
And if you can place them where they're not going to be too
right up on the top.
Oh. Wow, that's a lot of villages. Look at the villager count drop. Even Mitoe's feeling it. Even spent the time to type ouch into the chat. That's how painful it was.
I just like to see him just go for a big play with this big cav mass. Like he could just... Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
We're going to have a little bit of a base raid.
this is what it looks like. Blue, you know, certainly, or teal at least, or cyan, I don't even know. Pushing down here, certainly the pikemen have a lot of siege on them, or a reasonable amount at least, and there's nothing here to stop them. Equally, though, Stanley going to take out all of these cyan cavalry, take them down,
you
and
don't,
progress
you don't
onwards
want
towards this large villager
You don't
mass.
want to base trade against the Pritchniks, I'll tell you that much.
That's true. They are definitely very efficient at killing buildings.
Although there are a lot of quaint pikemen which do...
Oh, not going in the direction of the villagers. Perhaps he doesn't know they're there.
This is so scary, this
Here we
massive
go.
cav.
Yeah. Though blue units have been trained to sort of deal with it, and Oprishnik's not the best for actually fighting units. They've got low HP and stats generally.
There's enough caustic in there though that I'm not too concerned that he'll lose too many units. Although it is just buying him a lot of time, which I mean we can see.
He's killing a lot of houses. Whilst
He's killing a lot of stuff down here. Stanley needs to be more proactive with this army. He needs to be doing something, at least posturing with his 2 falconets to try and drive back there. Because Mitoe's actually like kind of dealing with this massive cav back in his base in a fairly effective way. He's had to garrison a lot of villagers and stuff, but he's slowed down and not taking a lot of damage to his infrastructure. And at the same time, like he's threatening the TC of pink right now, and this is a bit scary for Stanley.
It's a bit, he's lost a lot of houses. He's now actually pop caps. A lot of wood he's just lost out there. But here, 2 cannons look fairly good over behind there. I don't really think anything's going to punish them too much, even if the Manchu are focusing down. There's a lot of musketeers here, and certainly the purple cavalry coming on their way back on the correct side. Want to get a nice surround on, of course, the crossbowmen, and but he does actually bring his pikemen forward. Nice job there. The cannon's still alive though. I think Stanley done a good job of that.
Yeah, pretty good control there out of Stanley, getting everything in the right spot. And now it's just the 2 falconets that are just going to be bombarding away against all that China has left.
Never found an opportunity to get rid of them.
Yeah, and this is this is a good position for Russia to be in. We can take a look at the villager count. He's slightly up, although all the villager counts are very low due to just kind of the nature of this map. At the same time, like Mitoe is spread thin, doesn't have many resources left, and his real strength was the strength of those Manchu, and now those are starting to kind of dwindle away, and we can see that Russia is just continuing to have a little bit of control over the middle portion of the map, and the more resources he's able to use before having to make that absolutely ghastly transition to mills is going to be better for him. So
ghastly transition. It's very. This is not good. I can't cast like this. Like every time I start speaking, it just
sounds painful.
It's just annoying more than anything else.
Is it allergies, or are you like actually ill?
I'm just sick at the moment, but it's just a cold. It's not really anything important here. But yeah, it's still fairly even in terms of score. Just
yeah, it's just I feel like this is the position Russia wants to be in. Like now he's essentially doing in Age 3 what he wants to do in Age 2, right? Where he's just forcing little fights everywhere, getting some advantages. Although that wasn't super great. He lost a lot of units running up to that, but at the same time he's still just like forcing these little fights, and we can see like stuff like 2 falconets coming forward. Just getting good trades, and this is where Russia just continues to out-efficiency you, even moving forward in the 3rd age.
Yep, no boyars yet though. Oh, looks of it. But still, Russian units are very efficient generally. They're cost-effective in terms for their cost, even though they are weaker. They're certainly a lot cheaper as well. Little fights all over the place, as you pointed out here. Oh, nice little stable going up down by Stanley. This is fairly interesting. But yeah, that town center doesn't look like. Oh, the cannons though.
One of the cannons goes down.
But
I don't know that it's gonna matter though. Like Mitoe's like basically got all of his everything.
He just knew that he knew he needed to get rid of the cannons, otherwise that TC is not going to stand for too long. That thing
has some cav closing.
He needs to. Oh, that's not too bad. Going to pick up a falconet for free, basically. There, not too bad at all. Looks like actually maybe he's going to protect this TC after all. I don't know. Yeah,
he's got to just call it. And he's got just go. Like if he can't push this back,
he needs to hold this position.
He needs to push this back. Even still, if he holds this position, he's running out of food in a bad way.
Yeah, it's true. Well, both players are there, right? They're both about to run out. You see here, actually, 1,000 wood sent by Stanley to this forward blockhouse. Not necessarily the place he wanted it to be, but still, it's here. and maybe forgot to change the spawn point. Perhaps that is what he's going to use to start the, so to speak, ghastly transition to mills.
Yeah, unfortunately, it would be much better if it was like somewhere behind his base.
Yeah, that would be. I still think he's going to be able to collect that up. But actually, this could be. Do you
I don't
think
know
here
if he
he's
is
going to
because
just
I think he's
pull
at
everything?
at a hard stop in terms of food. Like I don't think he'll be able to make another unit.
If you take control of that wood, that is game changing. That's how, like, you basically deny your opponent 1,000 wood and you gain 1,000. That's like a 2,000 wood difference, and then you get mills up and they don't, and the game just that. I don't know. That could have been a devastating mistake. Looks like that there's no one there. Villager's now going to go grab that. But here we go into a game where it's going to be the trash war. Food and wood units. No, well, certainly actually coin is available. It's the food that's the issue here. This is where things get interesting.
I wonder if Mitoe didn't just make a mistake there by allowing those villagers to gather that 1,000 wood, because sure, he's concerned about these cav running around in the south of his base, but at the same time, he still has some. Well, I guess both players have berries left, and that's something to consider. But that 1,000 wood certainly, I think, could have been better used by Mitoe if he would have been able to imagine if he would have been able to push his opponent back enough so that there was no more units coming out of there, and he would have been able to take that wood. How good that would have been for him.
How good would that wood?
How many woods in the wood be? Yeah, it would have been really good.
How would you do? Would you think that the wood would be good?
The wood would be wood.
I don't know. I think here, like, it's just coin and wood left, right? Like, there's not very much food. So Falconets are going to be clearly a artillery foundry going up, stable interjection, and he's going to be making lots of cannons out of that stable, of course.
The one bad thing about that is there's a fairly high disciplined meteor hammer count out on the map.
A lot of cavalry,
so,
that's true.
Meteor hammer is really, really good at dealing with artillery.
Oh, big raid coming in. Lots of villagers on the coin mine. No one there to stop them. Nothing really to repel this.
I thought for a second he wasn't going to see it.
Oh, yeah, but there is a blockhouse nearby. But still losing lots of stuff. Here we have villagers working in harmony, apparently. Mitoe going to get out of there. Oh, meteor hammers coming in. Or not too good.
I think Mitoe's just being more proactive with his military units at this point, and that's giving him the advantage. He's like, even like just poking around with his infantry and just being everywhere around the map is allowing him
playing the raid meta at the moment.
I think
that's certainly what's happening.
Did he just delete,
those raids?
Did he just delete those?
I think he might have done. He looks
pretty sure he just deleted his.
What did he delete? I didn't even see.
He deleted petards that were about to.
I didn't even see petards.
Yeah, he trained like
there's
trained some
artillery.
petards out of there. And like they bugged out or something. I don't know. Apparently Mitoe's going to do the sporting thing and delete Confucian account.
Are you ready?
Wow, okay. That's... I'm glad... Well, in a competitive tournament match, you certainly wouldn't see that happening. But for the sake of Saturday Smackdown, we're going to continue this great game. And obviously the petards that I wasn't looking at that were apparently here. I'm such a good person for navigating the screen. I don't know, this cough is... Why am I blaming navigating the screen on a cough? I just feel like my casting is not as... I don't know. Damn cough. But deletes the thing in which the petards would have killed anyway.
Even with that, I think Mitoe, like getting back to the point we were at earlier, I think Mitoe has just been so much more proactive with his army and so much more aggressive around the map in securing what little resources do remain, that I think he's found himself in a pretty nice advantage at this point. And I don't know if Russia, like, if these 4 Falconets are going to be enough, just due to the fact that there are so many cavalry out here on the floor. I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Yeah.
Big.
Mitoe. That's a lot of cannons though. He's managed to field those, and actually, there's not so many cav left, right? Or are there?
There's like there's 8 cav. I guess we have a button to do this, right? That tells us there's 6 meteor hammers.
Let's
and
click
6
on the military.
iron flails.
If he can protect these cannons and make a convincing push now, and maybe pick up a raid or 2, he's still in this. But he is 30 villages behind at the moment.
It's going to be hard for him to ever engage.
Mitoe's proactiveness certainly paying off.
It's going to be hard for him to ever engage with 4 falconets and 15 muskets, though, right? Like, oh, he's got Calamux, though, now, so I guess he's okay.
Yeah, 1,000 wood. That's an interesting shipment. Of course, 1,000 wood for 9 Calmux or whatever it is isn't actually that good. You rarely ever see it because of that. But when there's no food on the map, making use of the resources you can collect actually has a nice power spike here. Of course, 60 military units each. But a lot of these, dragoons actually, these Kalmucks are guard dragoons. They're a lot better than you'd think. These cannons have a much, quite a big compositional advantage over what Mitoe has. And Chinese units aren't that strong overall for their pop cost, so this could be quite interesting. But having said that, gonna nullify the cannons. The cavalry coming in, gonna absolutely wreck them. Yeah. And the Kalmucks not gonna be able to, yeah, they're good against Cav, but not gonna be, and it's like Stanley Winston knows it. Obviously, he's probably aware of the amount of villages he's lost, and
I didn't even realize Mitoe was up to 72 vills off the back of this. Like, that's actually, like, really impressive. That, like, despite the fact that there's been no food on the map for what feels like the past forever, he still has production from somewhere. Like, somehow he's, like, just pulled villagers out of his ass.
Anal cavity, very big.
Yes.
I've been saying that a lot, actually. But that is the end of that game. I'm going to take a look at the post-game. That was a pretty interesting. Let's take a look at the food count and see what happened. They still maintained food production reasonably well, but it starts to drop off a lot for Stanley at the end.
Look at the villager.
Not quite sure where Mitoe was getting it from.
Look at the villager counts. It's just brutal. Like, Stanley was in such a good spot. Like, I actually thought, like, around 18 minutes. And I think that the biggest issue is he was indecisive with that big cav mass. Like, if he would have been more aggressive with all those Oprichniks and would have just, like, grouped them up and, like, gone and, like, circle sieged a TC or something like that, like, they kept, like, bouncing around back and forth, and he's trying to be too cute with his raids and, like, not lose them. Like, if he would have just bulldozed them into something while, like, fighting with his main army at the same time and just kind of abused, like, the fact that he's got that trading effect that China can't really easily deal with and split up China, it would have been, I think, a lot better for him. But either way, well played by Mitoe, and pretty impressive that he was able to get back up to 72 villagers, despite the fact that he lost what felt like so much early on.
But the chat, they're both pretty happy though. They're both enjoying themselves, and I think they both agree that Stanley should have won that one. Should have gotten my church card earlier. That's true. That was a pretty fun game. I'm now going to end the recording. We'll see you in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to, I do not know which game this is in the series.
3.5?
3.5. I don't know what we're doing about that, but it is certainly, in this series, Stanley Winston versus Mitoe. Continued. Ottomans versus Portuguese. Certainly an interesting matchup. On the requested map of all things, the chat was like, yeah, we want to see Great Plains, and here we have it, Great Plains with a brick ton of hunt. Apparently that fixes it. Okay. But certainly a lot of hunt on this map, certainly going to be quite interesting. Portuguese can get that hunt in, he's going to be pretty happy. Ports like hunt. Ports are pretty, well, they're okay if you get the hunt. That's the problem, they're quite hunt dependent. But this is an interesting matchup. Ottoman, a civilization we do not see very often on my channel, at least. Perhaps you see them quite frequently on ESO. I don't know. It depends on your rank, I guess. But or just I don't know. Anyway, Ottoman, because of the tournament, it's been banned. Obviously, banning Iroquois and Ottoman. We've seen a very large, diverse choice of matchups, and it's very interesting to see that there's no strict matchups that people have been playing. That might change later in the tournament, but. I quite like this Ottoman ban in the tournament, but here we do see Ottoman, and we don't get to see them very often, perhaps because of the tournament. And it's not something I feature on my channel particularly much, because there is that stigma that goes with Ottoman as it being perhaps a bit too strong and a bit too easy to play for a number of different reasons. There are several different things it can do. But Portuguese, you think, oh, that's one of the weaker civs in the game. Did you have something to say before I continue?
No, it was just like the stigma that goes with Otto. It's not only that they're strong, and they certainly are. Like they're I think the clear number 2 strength civ, even at the highest of high levels of play. It's just the stigma of like how easy they are to play, because like you don't train villagers, and you can move Abus guns and Janissaries in one group, and it's like really not super high skill, and the skill potential for the civ just isn't that high. Like
Yes.
the strategies that are strong with them are fairly easy to execute, and so I think
Yeah,
part of that
they
stigma is just the ease of use of the Civ is part of why they're frowned upon so much.
I remember Yumiu saying, I personally would say is possibly one of the best players on vanilla. Currently doesn't play anymore, very sad. But one of the best vanilla players once said to me that Spain and Ottoman about equal in power level if you play it right. But the thing is, Spain is probably better. He thought they were better than Ottoman, but the thing was, Ottoman was just so easy to play, whereas Spain actually requires skill to be good with. Yeah, there looks like a bit of conflict over this 80 wood treasure. We'll see what happens. But anyway, the point I was making, Ottoman is a civ we don't see very often on my channel. Perhaps those are the reasons why I don't like featuring them. But interesting to see. Every time I do a straw poll, Ottoman seems to be the civilization people want to see. So this is nice. So see some Ottoman. But up against the Portuguese, very sort of weaker civ, perhaps on the tier list. But you Zuta, you do want to tell us what you were saying earlier for the VOD?
Yeah, so I mean, like, Portuguese...
Oh, hold on, though. Do we see this villager going in for the pickup of the wood? That looks pretty risky, if you ask me. If he doesn't get that, those villager seconds going to be wasted. But going to go in here, very low on HP for the bag. Goes in. No, he misclicks on the scout. Not too good.
That's bad luck. But yeah, Portuguese's biggest weakness when it comes to, like, counter civ play is civs that can boom really hard and have really strong timing pushes, and there's a lot of civs that either have a strong timing push, whether that's in the second age or the third age, doesn't really matter, or have really strong economies, and that covers like most civs, but some of their mechanics are actually like fairly well suited to dealing with early game pressure, and Ottoman do provide a lot of early game pressure, even if it's in the Fortress Age or whatever. Like, Otto's economy in the Fortress Age, if they straight FF, isn't really good. Like, the scary thing of dealing with fortress pressure is when you have, like, 3 settler wagon or CDB economy or something like that backing it up, right? Where it's not like your economy's just in the gutter. Otto's economy never improves when they get to the third age, so... Portuguese, if they can hold out with town center play, and one thing that I do like here is we've essentially got like this moat out front of Mitoe's base, which is going to buy him a lot of time. Just like the lay of the land of that map there is really going to buy him a lot of time. He can plop down his second TC like right over here, which I'd be very surprised if he doesn't do. And yep,
you can even put a wall there. That's a super nice wall, and you could even just wall this bit, like just like that. They have to walk so much further around to get to you.
It's so
you
much.
Get so much extra time to respond to incoming raids, and just wow, that is a nice lake. Anyway, go ahead. That is a nice lake.
Yeah, and as a result, like maybe Portuguese is okay in this situation. I mean, it looks like Stanley's just doing some sort of straight FF, some sort of eco-based FF. Probably aged with 400 wood, used it to get stagecoach in a second. Is he getting stagecoach? No, he's not getting stagecoach, strangely enough. Unless it just doesn't show up. But either way, he's getting a second trading post with it, most certainly. And is just going to be able to use that to...
I know, he laid down a barracks with the 200 wood.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Which I don't think is bad. Like, I actually think that's pretty good, because you can get a Janissary in queue a lot earlier. You don't have to wait for that 700 wood to arrive. And I feel like as Ottoman, a lot of the time you do, like, because you don't have to spend any food on villagers, you do actually make so much food that you'll actually be getting, like, 3 Jans out a lot sooner or something like that. And, but then the stagecoach is certainly very good as well. Perhaps you'll get that out of the 700 wood.
Yeah, we'll have to see. The one thing about building the barracks now is, sure, he can get out like some Janissaries, but he's gonna run into a situation where he's pop capped until he gets the 700 wood, anyways.
Yeah.
Right, because like he doesn't want to sacrifice villager production just to have like 1 extra Janissary that he's really not going to use early on in the game. So
yeah, he's got 17 pop though, but the houses are coming down. It's still yeah. But perhaps as we're Portuguese though, it's he's looking pretty good. Got his hunts there. Has got this really nice map actually that he could make use of, and perhaps Portuguese one of the better civilizations against Ottoman for reasons Zuta mentioned earlier. Certainly 2 town centers means you can just not die a little bit easier. Oh god.
Yeah, and he's also got like just a really good strong map right now. He's got 2 town centers that are really close on top of each other. He's got a really well placed market and stable. And everything is just like really centrally located, and it's going to be a bit difficult for the Ottoman player to like push in and do some damage that isn't going to be able to be pushed back with Minutemen or something like that. Obviously, 2 Falconets is going to be difficult to deal with until he gets to the 3rd age, but at the same time, a couple cav out on the map trying to do a little bit of harassment.
Yep, and forcing the Janissaries to come back. They're not going to be able to harass him, do any shooting against things of his own during this time, following the cav around, buying him perhaps some extra time, though honestly, Ottoman not really going to be pushing in until he's up to Fortress anyway, but there it is, 6, oh, that's the fight. Oh, wow, he is looking for a super aggressive Fortress play. I'm not too sure on this. 5 does pick up the villager, pretty nice, but as Ottoman, I feel like 8 Janissaries is very strong. And yeah, he's going to have enough XP to get that eventually, but doesn't have a shipment in queue just yet. But then does have 2 trading posts on XP, so maybe 5 Jans is okay. But yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't like that trade-off either. Like
I've played Ottoman before, and I just feel like I've tried that. I just don't like it. I think like other shipments are better.
He gets 5 Janissaries earlier at the trade-off of losing 3 of the Janissaries that he would have sent. Like usually in age 3, like I would send an in-between card first as well, like 8 Janissaries before. Like you need to have something to go in front of your Mamelukes or your 2 Falconets or whatever you're going to follow it up with.
But that's the thing, right? That's exactly what he wants. He wants some Janissaries now so that he can have a good mass of them to protect a 2-cannon shipment, which I assume is what he wants to send as his first shipment, where normally you wouldn't have the Janissaries for that, so you'd have to send 8 first. This basically makes his push 30 seconds sooner, which could be really brutal against a Portuguese opponent who has just got, obviously, steel traps and all of that jazz. That's quite slow, takes a while to pay off, and is started with hussars, which aren't going to be hugely useful, and actually is going to use them, so maybe this is not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, it's just his next card is going to be that much slower as well. It's just the progression feels slowed down enough that I don't know that it'll necessarily matter. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, Mitoe is aging up. He's aging with a fast age. Because he's got a trade post that is, 60% of the way towards a drop off of XP, is going to have a 5 Dragoon shipment available to him. And if he can, get out some Dragoons, get out some Cazadors, he's going to be able to use Minutemen to buy himself some time here. I don't know that this little bit of extra early pressure is going to necessarily be worthwhile. We'll have to see. It's going to be a very close timer.
But that's what he wanted it for. Like, the cannons are here sooner. They're going to be doing damage. That's clearly why he sent 5 Jans, because otherwise you can't get away with it. You'd have to send 8 Jans first. But it's here. The pressure is coming. And Mitoe sent Spice Trade, which I think is, it's obviously a good shipment. You do have to send it, like, as Portuguese, because you don't have villager shipments if you want to boom. But yeah, as you said, you're greedy perhaps. And here, with this pressure arriving so soon, is that really what he wants? This is looking tough, right?
I don't know that it's necessarily too tough. We always have to remember Otto's eco is very poor behind this.
Yeah, true. 20 villagers.
He's not lost any villagers, which is important. He's only, lost a little bit of HP on one of these town centers, and more importantly, he's just getting time for his next shipment to come in. Now that here come the Minutemen, here come the Dragoons. Looks like everything's going to be moving forward.
It is, and that town center, the Dragoons, the Minutemen, focusing down, of course, those Falconets. They're gonna neutralize those, and now his opponent just has a mass of Janissaries, which are good. They're strong units, but without anything to counter the skirmishes, they're just gonna really, really tear his hair out, because catching up with Cazadors, even if Cazadors have a really weird loading animation that takes longer than normal skirmishes and they're just awkward, but still, the hard counter, and if you can get rid of the cannons like he's done, you make their Jan mass, you make their composition really bad, and now, like, what's the Ottoman gonna do? He's gonna have to get out of here.
Yeah, and this is just where it becomes awkward. Like,
that was really nicely done with the 2 towns.
There's still enough resources in Mitoe's base with the hunt and with everything that the Janissaries can't just, like, stand in there forever and just, like, siege to, like, bottle him up, or they're just going to all die to town center fire. Yet at the same time, that's almost exactly what he needs, but if he does that, he's probably just going to get picked away at by these 5 or 6 Cazadors, and we have to assume that 8 Cazadors is going to be the next card, or even something maybe like 2 Argons, something like that. Now, this is usually the point where Ottoman's next card in this progression is 1,000 coin, which is what it is, and that means there's another clock where Mitoe has to get to a point where he can deal with the Mamelukes, and And I'm not sure whether or not he's going to be able to do that if he did indeed send eight Cassadors. It'll be very interesting. Okay, so he did send the 8 Cassadors. I was just about to say it's going to be very interesting if he didn't send the Cassadors, and if instead he was confident enough to send something like 1,000 coin or something like that to be able to start transitioning into like massing Dragoons.
Yeah, you need those to deal with. Yeah, it's those.
But
those
at the same
mounts.
time, like he has to be able to deal with these Janissaries first, I guess, and first and foremost, that's what's worrying him right now.
It's true, but he's got enough Cassadors. He can maintain a range advantage, and these things don't want to be standing under 2 TCs with Cassadors shooting at them if they can't really be doing any lasting damage.
Yeah.
Certainly, there's a lot of Jans, and they're causing a problem, but I don't think they're as threatening as they look.
Yeah, but the clock is ticking, right? The 1,000 gold has been gathered. He's at 98%. Like, Mamelukes are starting on a 60-second timer, right.
How long do they
now.
take to send? Is it 60 seconds?
I believe it's 60
I
seconds.
thought shipments take 30 seconds, or am I just...
Mercenaries take longer.
Oh, they do.
Mercenaries take, like... Haven't you ever noticed, like, how long it takes your Mamelukes and your mercenary shipment to get there?
I've never noticed that, but
Yeah.
I believe you. Yeah.
I don't actually know the
Picking off a lot of
exact
Jans, though.
timer.
Not too bad.
I don't know the exact timer, but I do know that
It's
that
longer
it's
than 30.
considerably longer.
And I've seen it in the comments section on my YouTube videos that apparently I've just never really regarded that as okay. Sounds pretty good. Sounds yeah. But
the race is on for Mitoe. Like what? And he could be trying to gather coin for Mamelukes of his own. We can see he does have 5 Mamelukes in his deck.
Or all right. Let me pitch this idea to you. What about Ronin? Which aren't in his deck.
Which aren't in his deck.
I
I would, if he had something like Manchu or something. I don't even know if Portuguese have like Manchu available, but certainly Manchu would be like something that would be good.
I just feel like if you send Mamelukes of your own as Portuguese here, yeah, okay, you both have Mamelukes. In theory, they cancel each other out. But I feel like his Mamelukes just ignore yours and kill all your Cassadors, and then you're like,
James.
oh, okay. And your Mams are like attacking his Mams, or which you don't want to do. Like, I guess when you're fighting against Mams, you just ignore them because you're not gonna kill them. You want to kill units that are dealing damage. Like remove the DPS, or kill the low HP units, which are ironically here the Janissaries, which are not low HP at all. But here comes the Mamelukes, absolutely disgusting shipment. That is a Hussar, essentially, a veteran Hussar, actually, with 1,500 hit points. Here we go. So
Good job by Mitoe, though, picking off some of the Jans. Like, it's gonna, every little point of damage he can get in here is gonna matter.
Yeah.
If he, every little piece of damage he can get off on these units.
Here we go. Gonna try and use those Dragoons to body block, well, a little bit, sort of.
He's
Getting
in
a
control
nice-
so far. Yeah, he's gotten...
Yeah.
Look at how little damage those Mamelukes take from the Cassadors, though.
I know, he's focused only just one of them down, and you think, like, how... Here, like, those... If those Dragoons get snared like they have been, and these veteran Janissaries catch up, gonna lose the Dragoons, which are expensive, and he's not gonna be too happy about that. And here, I just think, like... Oh, Teal's army. Keep calm, send Mamelukes.
It's
right
so
click on.
hard. Like, your opponent just doesn't have to do anything, and, like, it's so hard. Like, what does he do?
It's like, what do I do against Mameluk? Oh my! That was supposed to be. I stopped because I thought I'd start coughing and I felt it coming, so I couldn't finish what I was gonna say in that voice. Never mind, that was wasted. Well, that concludes that then.
Like, 3 of the Mamelukes are still at full HP. After all that kiting, he's only managed to kill 2 of the Mamelukes. And there's just more Janissaries coming. And this is just why Otto is dumb. Like, they just make only Janissaries and ship this one card which you can't kill. And Janissaries just have so many hit points to begin with. Like, we have to consider the Janissaries have 300 hit points themselves. Like,
Yeah, H2O is going off on a huge run about how he thinks it's not Abyss guns that are the problem, it's the fact that Janissaries are just dumb.
well, it's not. I mean, like, how many Abyss guns have been made in this game?
A lot, but he was like, it's the fact that you can't get to the Janissary. You can't get to them because the Janissaries are just...
I said that as like I don't know, like a...
Oh,
how many Abyss guns
Yeah.
have been made in this
Alright,
game?
alright.
0. Clearly, like,
Yeah.
they're not the core issue if the player isn't even bothering to make any of them. Sure, they're okay, like, they're good, they're a strong unit, but they're a unit at least that takes some level of control and
can be caught out of position and die easy to town centers, versus Janissaries, which just don't die to anything. Don't do a lot of damage.
You have to be super careful to focus them down properly.
You have to. It's so much work to deal with Jan Mameluke, and you have to play almost perfectly, and you make one little mistake, and there goes your hopes of winning. But
when you ask that question,
out of this.
No, 2 organ guns. No, absolutely, yeah. It's looking pretty good, but I don't know, you say that, but doesn't he just walk up to the organ guns and just shoot them down once the Mamelukes get back?
I don't know. The Mamelukes have been sent out on a little scouting party, and
they have, but they're coming back. By the way, when you mentioned how many Abbas guns have been tried, I thought you were referring to
series, yeah.
No. I thought there was that webpage that shows you how many of each type of unit has been made throughout the entire course of the game.
Right,
I believe that only like 6 surgeons have been played in competitive matches since the beginning of time. According to this website, it calculated the ESO website. I thought you meant on there the Abbas guns.
Sure, that would be hilarious.
I'm yet to see AZ make surgeons work. Or maybe like it's only like 1 field hospital has ever been trained in a competitive match.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's done a good job. He's killed a lot of Janissaries.
This is fine. Like, Mitoe's fine, and we have to remember, like, Stanley, he's all in. He's committed. Like, he doesn't have a mosque. He's not getting the upgrade to improve his villager timeline. His villagers are flatlined at 25, and he will not.
Oh, that's not good. Out of position there. Nothing to back them up. The cavalry coming in. Sit down, man. Where does the man go? They're like hacking away at this organ gun, and why can't like a new guy come and fetch the organ gun and like put it back together?
Ooh, 5 Mamelukes for Mitoe now though as well, and now with the healthy Mamelukes still alive, he's got to like his position. He's in a position where it's not getting any scarier. Like, this is as scary as it's gonna get. The scariest that it was ever gonna be was the 5 Mamelukes and the Janissary timing push. The economy's not getting any better for Stanley. Like I mentioned, no mosque, never going to be probably above 25 villagers. And at this point, he still has a decent amount of hunt. He still has all of his town centers up. He never even lost like his early barracks or anything like that. Wow, he did lose his staples.
That's incredible. But
yeah, he's certainly in a position where all he has to do now is just
make units and not die.
Exactly, and I think he should be able to convert from here.
There we go. That was an interesting game. I think I don't know. It was the early cannons which were interesting. When I've played against Portuguese as that's a raid.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. Like, it's certainly a big raid, but is it going to be like that important? Like, he's still very far ahead in terms of
still double bills, and he still has the high HP Mamelukes as well, which is the important thing.
What was I saying? I can't even.
When you play Ottomans.
Oh yeah, it was. I feel like Colonial Jan Abbas is better against Portuguese because you can contain them and Fast Fortress. The two town centers, they use their town centers to target the cannons down, as we saw, and then it just
I don't know. Like, this FF is definitely like a one-trick pony kind of strat, right? Like, it's something that everyone has learned how to do at one point, and it's really hard to deal with. And the thing is, you have to play almost perfectly against it to beat it. And Mitoe has, in his defense, he played very well. He did a lot of things right.
Wow, that's a lot of villages.
Yeah.
Falling out of that TC. And doing a good job to sort of block them getting into the TC. Look at the villager count evening up here. This is exactly what Stanley wants. Only 20 ahead now from being like almost 3 times ahead. And here, look, that town center's gone down. His opponent's only got 1 left at half HP. Yeah, in terms of military units, they're even, but, you know, mostly it's just dragoons, which aren't that useful against the Janissaries.
How sick to the stomach does it make you that this game is still close? Like, the fact that the Ottoman player has not even bothered to make more than 25, like, it's just gross, like, that this game is even close.
It's the fact that this song, what the hell is that man doing? Like, did you see the moonwalking Mameluke? What was that? Oh my goodness,
Witchcraft.
Yeah, that was that. But here comes his own Mamelukes. Looking okay, if he can keep the Cassadors alive. Looks like he's going to be able to do that, and I think this fight is in favor of Mitoe, especially with the high HP Mams. You see the Janissaries going into ×3 combat there with the hand damage, but Gonna walk those janissaries all over the place. Get those cavalry away. Actually,
I know there's still like 3 pink Mamelukes, and they're just causing all sorts.
Where
of
did all
issues.
those Cazadors go? Oh yeah, those things only have like they're 50 range resist and no melee, no hit points. Like that's where they went. The remaining Ottoman Mamelukes tore them apart. Oh my goodness, this is this is a cough.
Fortunately,
See,
the economic.
this game is making me
disparity,
sick.
so,
That's you can hear it. I'm coughing. I'm getting
it's
sick. From
literally
watching the
making you sick.
Yeah.
You're getting iller by the minute watching this.
Ugh. This is Ottoman is dumb. Like this is why we don't feature it in the tournament, and why it's not on my channel. And I hope I don't know. I don't want to take anything away from Stanley here because I think pushing in on the town center was pretty good.
Yeah.
We can't it's not all just about Ottoman.
And he's still gonna lose, right? Like Mitoe is still going to win this game, like despite the fact that that there was that one little slip up. But he still has 3 Mamelukes left. Otto is still hard capped at 25 vills.
Though Mitoe coming in for a raid here. That's not too good. No wait, that's fine. They're Ottoman villagers. I thought that was the other way around. I thought there was. Oh hi. Sorry, go ahead.
The good thing is now that he's scouted that out, he like if you take into consideration that's actually the entirety of the Ottoman economy, and if you can force those villagers to stop gathering, there will not be any more janissaries trained. So, I guess
at this point, like, where is the economy is literally just that 24 villages. Hard trooping out. Yeah, five cavalry archers have just arrived. It's not quite the same as Mamelukes and Falconets and the 8 Jan.
Yeah, it's definitely not as good, but still all the same. Like, Mitoe's kind of running out of resource. It's just sickening that this game is still ongoing. Like most of the time, like all of their civs would be dead when they got to this position, right? Like if you were behind with any other civ by 25 to 70 vills or whatever it was, 62 to 25 vills.
Yeah.
Any other civ, you would probably just resign. But Ottoman's actually like this game's actually legitimately still close because of
just. You said he's running out of resources. Yeah.
Yeah, like.
But having said all of that, yeah, okay, Ottoman, you doesn't resign, you keep going. But I think Stanley did a good job of making sure those villagers went down after he killed that TC, getting in the way of the vills, making sure he could do his best to kill off as many. So yeah, there is that, the old Ottoman stigma. But I think Stanley certainly.
Stanley's playing it right. He's definitely playing it correctly. Yeah. And I think Mitoe's just trying to get out Bestieros now. We can see he's got the church down on the north side of the map. We can also see that he has sent the church card, which is going to be helpful for him. And if he can get out Bestieros against these veteran Janissaries, that'll ease a lot of his woes here moving forwards against the Jans.
Yeah, there's what you get like 20 guard crossbowmen or something.
Yeah,
it's
something like
pretty good.
It'll definitely help.
I noticed a comment in the chat earlier. They mentioned spies whilst we were talking about Mamelukes. I just want to point out that spies are terrible, especially against Mamelukes.
Well, they're actually really good against Mamelukes. It's just impossible to get them into position, and they're paper thin. They just die.
Yeah. They get shot down very easily by other units. Spies, well, assassins are okay, but you don't want to send a shipment to make those.
Yeah, to deal with
Mamelukes. Yeah.
There's this one guy that plays in Quick Search who plays only Ottoman and he only FFs, and he when I play against him with Japan, part of his build is to train a spy from his mosque and then run around and try and kill my explorers
I like that.
with his spy.
I did that against A's a couple of times as well when I was going through my Ottoman phase. I don't know, like you build it half the time anyway for the XP bonus out of that mosque, and having a spy running around killing that is pretty good.
It's super annoying, and he does it every single game.
And you don't even have the opportunity to smoke screen if you find them because it's just two pokes.
Two pokes.
Like that guy, I don't know what he's like fists of fury with knuckle dusters and everything. Like just 2 punches and you're a Japanese monk is just like on the floor.
You're dead. Gone. Boom.
Spies are pretty funny here. What's going on in this game though? Like Mitoe only 20 vills up. Remember he has to maintain villager production as well.
Yeah. Stanley still no mosque, I don't believe.
Well, the best heroes are out now, though.
I know he has got a mosque now, and he's getting up a second town center. Yeah, I mean, fortunately, the best heroes are here, so this should end the game. This big.
He's got
fight.
82 military pop, which is absolutely huge. Like, this fight is looking pretty good for Mitoe.
Yeah, Janissaries are good, but they're not good enough to beat this massive Dragoons and best heroes.
That took one hell of a long time.
Yeah, and it just shows the strength of the Janissaries just in general. Like, they're so difficult to deal with.
It's alright. So Ottoman, like, in conclusion, very easy civ to play because you're not making villages, and the build order is relatively straightforward. You make nothing but Janissaries, which you don't have to work too hard to use because they have so many hit points, and it's an easy civ to play, and they're very strong, and that's why they're not allowed in the tournament.
Look at the villager timeline. It's just it's a bit frightening.
It's flatlined for the Ottoman. Did he not decide? I know, I need that upgrade that increases it.
I actually think if you like have to make that upgrade with Ottoman in Age 3, you've probably actually already lost. Like, you're playing from behind in terms of villagers for the large portion of the game anyways. Like, if you can't get your eco rolling like either on water or with TPs or something, you're probably not going to catch back up in villagers, because in order to get your villager count to be evened out with your opponent, you have to build a mosque, get that tech, and build more town centers, and all of that is like too expensive. Like, it's just not something you can afford to do.
Oh, I got the award for least resources.
Only because I'm Japan and I had 100 export.
Yeah, well, that's a shame. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Yes.
Saturday hack. Smack hack.
That's on the painted desert. Saturday hackdown, absolutely. Oh, spawning with cows. Oh, now my screen's over here. Does it do that for you? I don't know why I ask. I know it does. It just moves the screen. That's where the tap is spawned. But anyway, Saturday hackdown. Here we do indeed have in the south of the hack, in the color teal, playing as indeed. Oh, are we going back to that thing where you try and copy what I'm doing and I?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
What was it that you said? I can't even remember.
All things considered.
All things considered, yeah. Okay, I'll try and work that in a few times. We do indeed have the British. Pretty good map for Brits. Lots of hunt. Though having said that, Mitoe's hunt seems to be like a thing about barren wastelands. This is... I feel like a hunt should have spawned here, but didn't.
Perhaps, yeah.
But then actually, having said that, for the other player...
Yeah, I mean, it's similarly.
They're similar hunts.
Right? Like, I feel like maybe more so there should have been like some trees or something that should have spawned there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
in usually when the map does like mess up on the spawns, you can see a clear reason why it does. Like, a single tree or like a little piece of cliff or something will have spawned and like made it so that like something can't spawn there.
Impassable,
but
yeah.
like, this is just a barren, empty land, so I don't know that that's necessarily true.
Maybe it was supposed to be like that. You do need a place to actually build your base, and the game does accommodate that on a lot of the maps.
Yeah.
There's true. But, yes, the British mirror. Here we go. I don't know, I like mirrors. I think some of the weirdest games we've ever casted have been mirrors. Certainly that French mirror from a long time ago. And there was a German mirror me and Benny casted between Gaia and Kilojadi. British mirror, coming up. What do you think?
There was, what was the other matchup that you and I... What was it? What matchup was that?
Between who and what?
It wasn't so long ago, and it was a really good game.
Oh, it was H2O, right?
Yeah, H2O versus...
Was it an India mirror?
I don't recall right off.
I don't think it was a mirror, though, come to think of it.
No, it wasn't.
I still have the recordings from every Saturday Smackdown that's not up. They also be out at some point, but the tournament's taken sort of priority. I did get a Smackdown out, Anyway, that's not the point. I can't remember what that game was, but there's been a lot of interesting mirrors. I just want to get rid of that stigma that mirrors are boring. I can understand why. Like, in a matchup where there's different civilizations, you do actually have... like, you can see people, like, exploiting their civilization against their opponent and doing things differently and stuff to acquire an advantage, whereas... Perhaps there's not as much variety in a mirror, but some of the... Anyway, I've said mirrors good. Lots of...
Mirror-esque good.
Anyway, I feel like...
Mitoe has gotten down a market, which is important to...
Yeah,
we can see...
it's interesting to look at the trade-off in a mirror here, and this is for newer players. This is maybe the most brilliant way to explain like the difference between going for a market early and not. I mean, we can see Stanley 17 pop already aging up. Mitoe 17 pop, not going to be able to age up just quite as quickly, and so he may be forced to train an extra villager, or he may be forced to idle his town center a little bit, or something like that.
Winston already in his way up, yeah.
Yeah, and as a result, we can see that, you know, Mitoe a little bit slower, but his economy is going to be a little bit stronger earlier on as well, but he's not going to have quite that tech advantage. So if you consider like what Stanley's doing now, he's moving this villager out across the map, obviously wants to play aggressively, probably going to use that villager to build a manor house, get some vision, and drop down an early aggressive barracks.
I was thinking about this. I was thinking to myself, Azamp, YOLO swag, this guy leaving his coin on the floor, not building a market. Coin, you don't need that. That doesn't help you age up faster. That doesn't help you rush. And here, all the villagers transitioning toward forward villager already in place for a forward base. Are we going to see some? So British can be aggressive. They don't use their mana about. They don't use their civilization bonus, but they can certainly be aggressive. And in a mirror,
certainly can. And maybe that's like part of the mirror as well, is that Brits do have a lot of different things they can do, and part of what makes Brits so strong is just the diversity of style that they can play. You can play longbow pike, you can play like pure musket, you can just do like super boomy defensive longbow like Nature Phoenix likes to do. You can do like some sort of cav openings. You can do like a very economically focused semi-FF. Yep. Like there's so many things you can do, and none of them are inherently bad. It just depends on the matchup and which map you're on, and your opponent's playstyle, and how well you scout, and all those like external kinds of things. And we'll have to see how Mitoe deals with this, because obviously Stanley has chosen to go with a very aggressive build. We can see the villagers very far forward, and the outpost placed down very aggressively as well. Wow. That being said, has got a read on it, has Mitoe, has scouted it, and it looks like No Fear going to put down his outpost equally aggressive.
Fair enough. And a fairly forward barracks as well, actually. I guess at this point you have to mirror that. Like, you have to be aggressive. Look at Mitoe's hunts. They're still quite far away. Not really many in base at all. So, against this, you can't play like I'll just boom it like slightly and then I'll stabilize with my 6 longbows and my Minutemen all at the same time. You actually have to...
These hunts are a huge liability. He has to be able to keep those safe, and if he's not able to keep those safe, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. The good thing that Mitoe knows here is that his opponent is likely making musketeers, and he does have the option to potentially train a batch of longbows first as his first batch of units.
But that tower, though, wow, that Inca guy taking him out. Jeez, like, sit down, son.
But knowing his opponent has trained muskets, going to give him the flexibility to potentially train a couple longbows as his first units, and kind of deal counter units here. But we'll see. These muskets are out on the map, and could potentially be providing a little bit of pressure here on the left side of Mitoe's base.
Yeah, could be.
Ooh, muskets! He might just be able to run up and snipe that outpost.
Yeah, that looks like exactly what he's going to do. Do you focus it here, despite the fact that his musket... Pulling that one musket off, what a pro.
I think you do. I think you do just like...
Yeah. Oh, no, he doesn't want to commit to it. Like, these are obviously 100 resources each. It's not something...
Should just kill it. Kill the outpost.
Was that a misclick? Where's he going?
Kill the outpost.
Yeah. That thing's doing like 30 damage with each throw, right? Oh, wow. Yeah. That is big. Like, that swings the game for Star. That's 500 resources of musketeers now gone. Didn't manage to take the outpost down. That thing's dealing 30 range damage. It's essentially like an extra musket that just doesn't die.
Yeah, it's an extra musket that has 2,000 hit points.
Yeah, and he's just going to repair it for half the cost, and they repair super quickly. And all those muskets that are 100 resources each, they went down because they weren't shooting his opponent back whilst they were being shot at, and he didn't manage to get the tower. That's going to be repaired. This is not looking good for Mitoe.
It's so awkward for Mitoe. He's probably got to send something like 6 longbows or something if he wants to just not die.
Yeah, he's going to
his Explorer's up. Get it with the Explorer. Get it with the Explorer. You can do it.
He's not listening to you, Zuta. Yes, he is. Oh, it doesn't go down. Stubborn Brits, right? No, I never listen. I can say that, I'm British.
Yeah, it's actually such a big deal that he did not get that outpost down, and now it's being repaired like you mentioned.
It's okay. Currently 9 population to 5 isn't a big deal, but when that batch of 5, there it is. Now it's 14 to 5. That's like what we're talking about here. Though it does even up with the longbowman shipment. Oh no, that's a trained longbowman.
Yeah. And
5
I
vills.
would have liked to see Mitoe do this from a little bit earlier off, like get out the longbows and use just like the counter units, because he was up slower, and I mean Stanley was always going to have military units out earlier and more aggressively, just because of the fact that he aged up quicker. And so if he would have stabilized off some longbowmen a little bit earlier, I think it would have been better for him. A couple more longbowmen coming in here as well.
Coming out, yeah. It looks like we do have a fight, but it's clearly in favor of Stanley. He's got far more units, and that gap's going to get even bigger as he tries to retreat and accidentally loses an extra longbowman here. But now that there's a range advantage, longbowmen are going to turn around, get a couple of free shots off there, try and sneak up this advantage back. But yeah, it's, I don't know. He's only 5 units down. I guess it's still an early game. Very even in military unit population, providing that he's able to collect food and isn't pushed off, and he should be able to do that. He should be okay.
Yeah, the thing is, he doesn't have, like, his resources are going to run out much more quickly, and he's going to find himself in a huge hole here pretty quick if he can't contain the map.
Yeah, and that's what Stanley Winston is doing to secure him the win. He knows he needs to just stop his opponent gathering food, or use his military advantage to control the map.
Yep, and these villagers going to go down, and this is getting tough for Mitoe. Like, He has to do something like right now.
Yeah, fairly even military pop though actually in this fight. 25 to Mitoe, 30 to Blue, but longbowmen are very effective against musketeers. Look at what what?
The upgrades. There's musk attack that's been
good.
sent. So
now
I mean,
that batch of 10 just pops out as well.
And this is the point where now he can just like start abusing the fact that the longbowmen need to be able to participate in one big grouped up fight, which I don't think Stanley, if he's smart, will ever give Mitoe the option to do. He'll just continue to run around with little groups of units, contain the map. I don't like that he's losing units here. He got a little bit carried away there, getting this far behind his base, but still should be okay, I think.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to get away with that. But
yeah. But just look at how many muskets are piling up here. Like, the entirety of Mitoe's army is forced to chase here behind, and there's just so many.
Especially with that the attack upgrade there, it's pretty nice. But just forcing these villagers around off the food, not going to let him gather. I don't know. It's still a close game. But Stanley picking himself up an advantage here and there wherever he can. You can see these units, these musketeers on the other side of the map now coming in.
Yeah, and that's 3 more dead villagers if Stanley plays his cards right.
Yep, plays his cards right. AOE 3. Very funny.
And this is another 2 dead villagers here. Like, he just should just suicide those, make sure those villagers die. Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, you know, like, you can afford to waste these units, and if you're trading them off against killing villagers, which they'll never get back, those take 25 seconds. You kill a villager, you put them 25 seconds behind. Wow,
yeah,
think about that.
He's got the map. He's got the upgrade advantage. The one thing that I guess Mitoe does have is he does have some cav out on the field. He's going to need some absolutely brutal raids to get himself back into this game, though. I don't even know. It's not even going to matter, to be honest. Like, Mitoe just doesn't have enough infantry to deal with the upgraded muskets that are here. I don't think it's going to matter.
Here we have a full-on fight, though. He's going to have to pull out some crazy micro to... well, I don't know. He doesn't want to take it. Longbowman's certainly quite good.
Yeah. I think he could still just fight there, honestly, but...
maybe he's waiting on a batch of 10. And that upgrade's just arrived. Maybe he's waiting for that.
I think he's also been trying to deal with these cav back here on the back side of his base. He's trying to micro those as much as he can and deal with the raid threat that Mitoe is presenting himself.
Yeah. Apparently, teal and pink. We have a colorblind person in the chat. You could do friend-foe colors, but that doesn't work since you're not on. Since they're both enemies to you, technically, they'll both appear as red.
They'll both be red, and then that would be super confusing.
That would be, well, we could experience the world through his eyes if we did that. That would certainly be.
There's so much red on the map.
Maybe have them play red and blue for the next one. But, I need to stop reading the chat halfway through. It loses the flow. I need to focus on the game. Wow. Sandwich coming in.
Yeah, and this is going to be brutal. And I think this will just be game. Like, the longbowmen don't have anywhere to go. The reinforcements are completely cut off. The upgrade advantage very in favor of Pink at this point. And this is just going to be too much to deal with. He's found himself behind enemy lines. Pink's got an economic advantage, he's got a military advantage, he's got an upgrade advantage. Everything looking good for him here, and it looks like he's going to cruise to a pretty quick win.
Yeah, you can see, like, that's the fight. They're just dead.
Right. And that's just it. Like, that's game. Like, Mitoe can't catch up. There's no way I mean, in a battle of macro civs like this, right? It's just, you're never going to catch up. Like, it's just, let's face the facts.
This
like,
is one step in the right direction for catching up, but I don't know how much it's going to matter. Yeah.
And the transition to longbows needed to happen so much earlier for Mitoe. I still go back to that starting point where if he would have made 5 longbows as his first military badge, he could have pushed back that pressure and killed the tower. Or even if he would have killed the tower, like, that in itself was so big that he wasn't able to get the tower and wasn't able to get back out.
Around and missed, yeah.
Yeah.
Those,
the little things sometimes. Oftentimes people critique this game for, like, not having, like, the little subtle, like, plays like that, but
yeah, absolutely.
it's yeah, like, it's just a game of inches there. Like, 2 little things that could have absolutely swung the flow of the game and made it really, really in Mitoe's favor. But unfortunately, not able to do that. And to Stanley's credit, Stanley played very well here. Like, he's played this mirror very, very well. He's executed well. He's done a good job of maintaining map control and map presence, despite the fact that you know, he's behind in the series and stuff. So to his credit where credit is due, he has played fairly well. So
that's true. I'm sorry for my lack of comments, and don't think I'm doing a great job of navigating the screen. I've got a full-on headache right now.
Yeah, it sounds like you're struggling.
I don't know. I'm not feeling the hype either. This headache's really. No, normally that sandwich fight would excite me quite a lot, but.
Well, when you're not feeling well, it's like it's easy to, or it's hard to be excited about anything. Like, you just don't feel well. And I think we should see a resign here from Mitoe pretty quick. Although, to be fair, like, okay, there it is. I was gonna say, Mitoe's, like, he's getting some raids, like, up on the top side of the map and stuff, but at the same time, he's, like, down to 13 villagers, so.
If you're at 13 vills.
Yeah, if you're at 13 vills, if you're at 13 villagers, you're never gonna win.
I'm gonna end the recording there. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Stanley Winston vs Mitoe in this best of 7 series, Kamchatka, which is the first map in the tournament pool, but actually we're doing it somewhat late.
We're doing it as, like, random map number 6.
We're just like, I feel like playing Kamchatka, so why not? Though we do get the snowy spawn. I must admit, I like the non-snowy spawn a bit more, but that's not the point. This is reminiscent of Siberia, and Japan certainly enjoys Siberia, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly lots of spread-out hunts everywhere, make shrines very difficult to kill. Though you don't get a tower, which is something that Japan also
enjoys. But you get 2 guaranteed good gold mines, which is, like, just as important. This map is so good for Japan. Like, if you consider what makes a map good for Japan, it's, like, being able to spread out the map with your shrines and, like, take into consideration these hunts down here and how unlikely it is your opponent is ever going to be able to effectively siege those. Makes it so strong, and as a result, like, it's just so good for Japan to be able to shrine that up. But we'll have to see. I have a feeling that Mitoe's going to play aggressive early skirms, and whether or not he has shrines down there may or may not make a difference, because he may not have enough time to get shrines up down there. So we'll have to see.
Yep. But in the north of the map, in the colour blue, the Dutch, as Zuta pointed out, here we have playing as the Dutch, absolutely. And for the chat, I'm fairly left-wing, if that wasn't obvious, but alright. what's going on with this matchup, Zuta? Shrines and stuff.
Shrines and stuff. I mean, so what it comes down to is we can see that Japan has already decided that he's going to go Portuguese consulate, committing to like the boomy playstyle, and it's going to come down to what Dutch wants to do to react to it. If he wants to try and age up and fight him in the third age, or whether or not he wants to play very aggressively. Having played this matchup against Mitoe before, I'm fairly certain that we're likely to see a forward barracks right here. I'm going to call it like that's where the barracks will be.
Right there, okay.
Yeah, that's where it makes the most sense to me, is right there. And then he's going to bounce around trying to apply pressure to this cherry orchard and this coin mine and this set of trees and deny as many resources as possible. And if he can do that effectively with his first 10 or 15 skirmishers and keep Japan on the ropes and not allow him to ever get kind of like the ball of Nagayumi rolling that he needs to be able to secure pushing out of his base, then Dutch can find himself in an okay spot. This matchup isn't as hopeless as a lot of people would like to think, certainly in Japan's favor, but Japan has to play a fairly precise build, and I don't know how much experience Stanley has in this particular matchup, and specifically against playing against early aggressive Dutch skirms. And if that's something he's not equipped to deal with, then he could find himself in a position where he gets locked out in the cold and finds it difficult to win. So we'll have to see.
In the cold in Kamchatka.
Yeah, ha ha ha. I'm so funny.
That was pretty good, actually. But picking himself up a 50 wood treasure, or we'll be doing in any second now, has killed the Guardians there. Has a 40 wood treasure nearby. Japan going to be pretty happy about that. Certainly going to get the shrines down nice and quickly. And now going up to the next stage. Both players are.
Yeah. And this is where like we're gonna have to see what Mitoe's gonna do. Obviously, at this point, just chopping wood, and here come the villagers, and let's see where they go. I mean, I'm still predicting that. I still think that like right down in here is the best spot to put it.
I can't remember what it was you said that you say a lot. I can't remember. I haven't worked that in yet. I still need to.
All things considered.
That's okay. All things considered, I think that's a good place for the barracks. They have stopped to mine some coin. I guess that's they'll continue on their way and.
Yeah, he may like I don't know like try and put it here. He can't build it on the river. That's why I thought that this was a better spot. The other advantage obviously is that we have full vision of the map, and so I can see the exact layout of Red's base and say, well, like this is obviously the best spot to put the barracks because I have map packs and I can see the entirety of the map.
Whoa!
And I can see all of this.
Zuta hacking confirmed.
Yeah, for the 0 games that I play per week, I make sure to turn on my map pack.
Yep. Ace cow hacks. Yep.
Yep. But Mitoe obviously can't see all the map at this point, and so maybe just choosing to put it in the middle of the map, because it does give him flexibility to move his units around a little bit more, as it were. But looks like I do like this wall that's coming in here for Red. It's definitely giving him some coverage on his berries and on his silver mine, combined with the Teshuga Shrine and just everything, giving him a nice little bit of room to work with. And we'll see whether or not that's enough to deal with the early skirm pressure, because as we can see, there is a forward barracks. There is going to be a lot of skirmishers dumping out of that barracks, and he's going to have to find some way to deal with it here in the next minute or two.
Yep. This wall, though, I don't know. The only comment I could think of was that it stops the skirms getting quite so close to the cherry orchard, so certainly gonna have a lot more time to move those villages around. Or gonna lose less overall. I don't know.
And this is definitely more the Night BR style, like this
BR.
way. Yeah, like this is the way that Night BR would play this matchup, and it's not the way that I agree with it. And I'm curious to see how he deals with this pressure, because the bad thing is Yumis don't outrange skirmishers, and so skirmishers, especially when they're going to build up in count because of how early Dutch ages up, I feel like you have to be making the direct counter to them in order to like really be effective in the way that you play this game. And it's also very easy to overboom in this particular matchup, just due to the fact that that you can like kind of think, oh, well, like, Dutch isn't that scary, like, they're a bad civ, and then you've made too many shrines, and all of a sudden you don't have enough units, and, like, 20 skirms and 15 hussar dump into your base, and you have no way to deal with it, so, let's see what happens. A little bit of pressure going down here to the south side of the base. Mitoe needs to make sure that he doesn't get too overly aggressive with these units, but picking off a villager there is certainly going to be good for him. And this is where it starts to get annoying. Like, this is the annoying part, is not only do you have skirmishers bouncing around the south side of your base, but now these 8 pikes are going to be starting to consciously pull down your shrines, and you're on a bit of a clock as Japan. Did I lose you? Did you die? Have you given up the will to live?
I don't know. I'm certainly not feeling it.
You sound like you've given up. Given up on life.
I'm just listening now. I think
you're just another viewer.
I'm just watching. That's basically it. Yeah. I have such a headache. This is not fun.
Yeah. This is a tough spot for Stanley to be in. Like, look at the score. Like, he hasn't been able to even gather up all of his wood crates. He doesn't have his infrastructure established. He's not all that close to the magical 400 export that he needs to be able to pop out that batch of bestieros. And he's down only at 80, shrine pops. So it's not like he's at super high amounts of shrines either. He's not got that many shrines, and these 8 pike are still just running around the map, causing absolute havoc everywhere they go. They're pulling down shrines left and right, and it's really, really hard for Japan to get out of their base without a stable. And this is why I don't like this particular build against Dutch, because you have to be able to fight from ahead in this matchup, and the only way you can get ahead with how early Dutch ages is by fighting direct counters, and you're not going to be able to mass up defensively Yumis to catch back up in this particular matchup, and that makes it very difficult to ever get out of your base. And if you can't ever get out of your base, you're just going to lose all your shrines and eventually just die to the containment of the pressure. So we'll have to see. The Yumi count is continuing to grow. He is maybe at a point where he can get, I don't know, just that the second barracks, like, it just puzzles me why that wouldn't be a stable. But I don't know, maybe he has grand plans of busting out with Yumis. Obviously, Yumis are a very strong unit. He does have the best arrows out now as well. But he's on such a tight clock. There's so many pikes out, sieging everything he has down. And he risks just losing all of his shrines to these pikes as well.
That's still nothing.
Cough, cough, I'm still dead. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You could just drop that in after every time I finish up with a long
All right.
sentence.
I can do that.
You can just agree with it and just say absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay.
And behind this, Dutch's economy is still pretty good. I mean, he does have 3 banks. He's got a market up. He's gone with a fairly straightforward build. He worked in 8 pikes, but he also did ship 700 wood, 600 wood. So it's not like he's that far behind in terms of economy. And in fact, he's really far ahead in economy. And he's look at the shrine count. I mean, it's not improving any. It's continuing to. Well, I guess Stanley is trying to get up more and more shrines, but I don't know. It feels like he still just doesn't have that much stuff. And is there going to be an age up here or something for Mitoe? Maybe a stable? Yeah, there's the stable, which is going to be. I feel like that's going to be the killing blow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there you go, perfectly timed. Because imagine if 5 Hussar are coming out of that stable right now, and Mitoe definitely knows these Yumis are down here, right? He just got pushed off sieging this shrine, and so 5 Hussar are coming out. He knows there's Yumis out running around on the map somewhere, and if he can catch those, and there's 5 Hussar. It's gonna come down to being able to catch those. He knows those Yumis are out on the map. And we can see he's trying to go find them with those Hussar. Looks like they're just going to miss. Ships in the night, unfortunately, not going to catch him. But if he would have been able to catch them, that would have been big for him. But fortunately for Stanley, he is able to get out of there with those Yumis. It's always the risky run in shutting down this kind of pike pressure, but still, look at the scores. Really in favor of Mitoe at this point.
Absolutely.
That just worked out so perfectly, and I'm so pleased with how well that works out.
Yeah, all things considered is...
All things considered. All things considered, that works pretty damn well.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm not... I guess, like, Mitoe needs 5 more Hussar, and then he just needs to try and bust this.
See, I'm not coughing because I'm not talking. Like, this is clearly the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the clock is a bit in Stanley's favor at this point. Like, Mitoe does need to make a decisive move. He either needs to age up and get Falconets to deal with all this architecture out front of him, or else he just needs to, like, come crashing in the front door and, like, win the game, because he's not going to win the game by just continuing to poke with these skirmishers. He can't do that indefinitely. Eventually Japan will catch back up if he does that. So either needs to age or he needs to be able to commit to some sort of aggressive play, and we'll see probably whether or not if he makes more cav, then I think it'll be kind of telling that he wants to push forward. But if he doesn't make any more cav, there we go. It looks like he's going to age up, and this is Stanley's time. Like, this is the point in the game where Stanley has to not be afraid, because it's very scary looking at the score. Your 130 score versus 180 score, but your opponent has just sunk 1,200 or 2,200 resources into aging, and whether he knows it or not, his clock to win the game is, like, right now. Mito's got his unit split. Yep, a little bit of a raid going on there. That certainly is going to help him. And the units are split for Mitoe. The upgrades haven't come through yet. And this is probably the one point in the game where Stanley Winston is the strongest and is going to have a chance to win this game as the behind Japanese player. And I don't know, he's going to have to make the very best use of his time here, because every second that ticks by, Mitoe is closer to Falconets or upgraded Hussars or, mixing in Reuters into his composition and just getting that much stronger.
Absolutely.
And I feel like he maybe just wasted a bit of his time there. Just look at the resources for Stanley. He's not going to be able to age himself. That we know for certain. And this is the point where we have to assume the upgrades are coming through. Veterancy upgrades are certainly going to be finishing here soon for the Hussars. And when that happens, this amount of Hussars is going to be very difficult to deal with this few Ashies that he has. It looks like here comes the fight, and this is definitely a fight that Mitoe wants to fight. Units coming forward. The Yumi are in a pretty good spread. The Ashies working their way up front, doing a decent job of getting into melee combat with the Hussars. A couple more skirmishers coming in, but now with just the upgrades that are working their way forwards, all the HP in the veteran Huss, the extra damage from the veteran skirmishers, going to be able to fight his way through. And this is, I think this is the breaking point for Stanley Winston. Has lost all of his units. The Age 3 upgrades starting to work their way forwards, and Stanley going to find it very difficult to progress from here. Fighting from behind in upgrades, and getting to that critical point where very soon he's going to have to send Cherry Orchards. Realizes that he cannot win, and types GG.
GG. I love how that villager was building 2 shrines in the middle of that fight. And then he
No one seemed to care.
He finishes the shrine, stands up, walks over to the next one. It's like, oh, there's some people standing on the foundation, and then just gets shot and dies. And he's like you gotta feel so proud of yourself for finishing the shrine, and then like he looks so frustrated he couldn't build the other shrine. Yeah,
Absolutely.
All things considered,
all things considered,
a pretty good game.
A pretty good game. Just well controlled by Mitoe. Like that wasn't there wasn't anything special. He just played it so controlled and so like textbook correct, like of how Dutch should approach that matchup. And
is there where can I purchase this textbook?
On Goodspeed's guide. Like,
Yeah,
that's where we purchased. That's where you purchased this That's where he purchased said textbook.
I don't know. Some of his builds I think are a bit just ambitious. The ones with Russia I just don't think work.
Yeah, some of them don't, and a lot of them are geared towards like very specific maps and having infinite hunts and stuff like that. So.
It just assumes you're on Great Plains. And has,
Yeah.
A million bison under your TC. I don't know. Still a good guide, especially the most recent one. He's done very, very in-depth explanations about various stuff. But if anyone's just tuned in and is like, why isn't Interjection talking? Well, I just think from the beginning, I just slowed down towards the end to the point where I'm just like, this headache, I'm not even going to talk anymore.
Yeah,
But,
Interjection is not feeling well, so
That's that. Thank you for the get well soons and stuff. It's actually my birthday in a couple of days, not that that's relevant.
Wink, wink, give me a gift. But yeah, so that's gonna do it for Saturday Smackdown today, guys. I will for sure be here tomorrow. I can't believe that I agreed to do this, but 8 a.m. my time, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna cast back-to-back best of 7 series.
Yeah.
Rain or shine, with or without interjection.